Chapter 606. Here's the money. Li Erqing threw out 200 yuan. He wanted to tell them to keep the change, but he couldn't bear to. After collecting the money, Li Erqing's family of 3 walked inside. Hey, who are you? This is a private residence. You can't go in. The security guard stopped them. Li Erqing got angry when he saw the security guard. He said, "My son lives inside." "Sir, don't be angry. What's his name?" The security guard was surprised. Tuesday, Li Erqing raised his head. He felt that as long as he said his name, the security guard would send him in respectfully. Li Tu. "Okay, call him," the security guard said patiently. "My son is inside. Why should I call him?" "Sir, according to the rules, family visits must be confirmed by the owner. Otherwise, you can't go in." The security guard was tough. This was a high-end residential area. How could he let anyone in? If his superiors found out, he would lose his job. So troublesome. Li Erqing frowned. He would have called if he could, but he couldn't get through. Wang Zhong had blacklisted his family's number. In the security guard's eyes, Li Erqing's family was more and more troublemakers. If they really came to look for their relatives, would they leave them here? The answer was definitely not. "Why are you so stubborn? We're Li Tu's parents. Would we say anything?" Du Xiaohong saw that Li Erqing couldn't handle it and walked over. "We didn't bring our phones. Why don't you call Li Tu?" The security guard frowned. It was still early, so he might as well make a call. "Then you wait." The security guard turned around to make a call. Wang Zhong was helping Yao Bing cook a nutritious meal for Su Wanqi. Although he could hire a maid to help, it was inconvenient for a man and 3 women, so he didn't. At this time, the security guard rang his doorbell. Wang Zhong walked over and picked up the phone beside the door. "Hello, Mr. Li. Someone claiming to be your father is looking for you. They were really capable. They even chased him here." Wang Zhong had a headache. "My father died a long time ago. Chase them away." "Ah, I know. When the security guard heard this, he quickly apologized. After hanging up the phone, he said to Li Erqing impolitely, "Are you crazy?" Director Li said that his father died a long time ago. It was the same excuse again, making Li Erqing choke with anger. "No, he's talking nonsense. I want to see him." Li Erqing was not convinced. At the same time, he finally understood why Wang Zhong did not want to see him. Li Gao's heart sank. The security guard had already called, but Li Tu still didn't want to meet. What did this mean? It was very likely that Li Tu knew their identity, so he didn't want to show up on purpose. Didn't this mean that Li Tu didn't want to acknowledge them? How could this be? He had already bragged to everyone, and all his classmates knew that he was a rich second-generation heir. Even the goddess kept flattering him. Now, she suddenly said that she didn't want to acknowledge him. What should he do? "No, my brother must come out." Li Gao gritted his teeth. "We are his family, how can he not come out?" "Yes." His son's words made Li Erqing very confident. Since Wang Zhong didn't want to see them, he might as well make a big deal out of it. Du Xiaohong also thought so she shouted at the top of her lungs, "The security guard is hitting people, the security guard is hitting people." The incident quickly attracted the attention of the residents. The security guard was afraid of making a big deal out of it, so he immediately called the police. Soon, the police arrived. "What's wrong with the 3 of you? Why are you making a scene at the entrance of a residential area at night?" The 2 policemen and 3 auxiliary policemen who came frowned. No one was happy to come out at night. "Police comrade, you have to make a decision for us. My son doesn't acknowledge me," Li Erqing said with snot and tears, but he didn't mention anything about abandoning his wife and son. The policemen didn't have much patience at first, but after hearing Li Erqing's words, they were filled with righteous indignation. This was outrageous. The son was rich, so he didn't acknowledge his father. How could this be? For a moment, even the security guards were angry, but they didn't say anything. After all, this was the owner's business. The owners who could live here were quite capable, and they didn't want to lose their jobs because of this. Don't worry, if this is true, we will help you with Li Tu's work. Before that, you have to confirm that Li Tu is your son, the policeman said. Li Urchin awkwardly took out a yellowed picture of Li Tu when he was young. Just this picture? The policeman frowned, feeling like he was fooled. This is a picture of the child when he was young. What about the others? Like the household register, ID? Nothing. It's like this, police comrade. Li Tu is the child of my husband and his ex-wife. After all this, you're not his biological mother. The policeman looked at Du Xiaohong, then looked at the poor family, and suddenly realized something. In his heart, such a story appeared. The son was raised by the mother alone because his biological parents broke up. Now that the son was successful and living in a big villa, the father came to look for him. Although he felt disdain, the policeman still nodded out of duty. All right, I'll try to call Li Tu for you. Thank you, police comrade, Li Urchin quickly said. Soon, Wang Zhong's call was connected. Wang Zhong was eating with Yao Bing and the others. When he heard that Li Urchin had blown the matter up to the police, he felt terrible. Got it, police comrade. Thank you for your hard work. I'll come out immediately to clarify the matter. Now that the matter had reached the police, he couldn't not go out. He hung up the phone and said helplessly, "It's really troublesome." Yao Bing, Su Xiaoyan, and Su Wanqi all knew about it when they were eating. Su Wanqi asked, "Li Tu, what are you going to do now?" "I'll go out and take a look. Since I was young, he has never given me any alimony. Now, he suddenly came to me to acknowledge me as his biological father. How can there be such a good thing in the world?" "That's true. He's only looking for you now for money." Even Su Xiaoyan, who was the youngest among them, could see through this. Wang Zhong nodded. He couldn't help but think of the things in Li Tu's memory. When he was young, he was only 4 or 5 years old. His family was very poor. His mother woke up early and worked late every day. But one night, when she came back, she found that all the money in the house had been taken away. From then on, there was no news of Li Urchin. A few years later, she heard that Li Urchin got married outside the city. He married a city girl. Wang Zhong remembered that his mother cried very sadly that day. Because there was no marriage certificate in the countryside at that time, his mother didn't sue Li Urchin for any alimony. Just like that, she raised Li Tu painstakingly. Because he grew up in a single-parent family, Li Tu's personality became sensitive, timid, and honest. The honest Li Tu became famous because of this. With such a father, it was fine if he didn't look for him, but now he actually came to acknowledge him as his biological father. Did he really think that he was made of clay and could do whatever he wanted? "You guys eat. I'll take care of things outside." Wang Zhong walked out. At the entrance of the small district, Li Urchin and Du Xiaohong were still talking to the police. However, it was a pity that the police weren't idiots. After a few words, they realized that Li Urchin didn't know anything about Wang Zhong's situation. He saw that his son was rich, so he came to acknowledge him as his biological father. "Officer." Wang Zhong walked out of the door. A police officer walked over first. "Hello, Mr. Li Tuesday." "Yes. The situation is like this. This old man said that your father..." The police officer was very responsible. He patiently explained the situation to Wang Zhong again. In the end, he said, "What do you want to say about this matter? I don't know who he is, and I don't know why he came here. But since it has come to this point, I will explain it to him personally." "That's the best. If he continues to harass you, please call the police." "I will." When Wang Zhong was chatting, Li Urchin also noticed that Wang Zhong was exactly the same as on TV. This was his son. Son, I'm your father, Li Urchin. I miss you so much. Li Tu, I know you might still be angry with me, but I also have my difficulties. At that time, our family was poor and I wanted to go out to work, so I went out. Brother, hello, I'm your brother, Li Gao. Li Gao looked at Wang Zhong excitedly. If it weren't for the police, he would have rushed over and hugged Wang Zhong. But he held it in. It was very simple. After all, he was not an immediate family member. In front of Wang Zhong, he felt that it would be easier to get along with him in the future. As expected of a family, Du Xiaohong's thoughts were actually the same as Li Gao's. She pretended to look at him lovingly. Li Tu, your father has always talked about you. He said that you are a good boy, and he also said a lot of interesting things about you when you were young. By the way, he wants to come and see you, but his health isn't good. He has been sick for the past few years. This was the line they rehearsed before they came. It was as if it was real. Li Erqing was also immediately immersed in his acting and coughed. The police next to them were stunned. They had been chatting for so long, why did he suddenly cough? Son, let's hug. After talking for a long time, Li Erqing finally came over with snot and tears. Don't. At this time, Wang Zhong spoke. He waved his hand and said, Li Erqing, right? My name is Li Tu, but I don't know you. Go back to where you came from. Li Tu, I know you are angry. Dad knows he was wrong, but he had no choice back then. We were too poor and his health was not good. I have thought about it now. Our family is reunited, and I will give you fatherly love. Li Erqing said with a face full of emotion. He even believed what he said. He thought that Li Tu must be so touched that he would cry. Chapter 607. After hearing Li Erqing's words, Wang Zhong burst out laughing. To be honest, I really don't know you. If you insist, I can't do anything about it. Officer, please persuade them to leave, Wang Zhong said. Li Tu, how can you do this? He's your father. Du Xiaohong shouted anxiously. Big brother, Dad already knows that he's wrong. Please forgive him. Blood is thicker than water. Li Gao hurriedly said. Officer, I have something else to do. I don't have time to meet you. I'll leave first. Wang Zhong really didn't want to say anything more. He felt that it was a waste of time. Son, wait a minute. Li Erqing hurried over. If you don't believe me, we can do a paternity test. It really can. Who the hell wants to do a paternity test with you? Anyway, I've already said what I wanted to say. I'll leave first. You can't leave. We'll do a paternity test. You can't not acknowledge me. Li Erqing shouted. He couldn't care less about pretending to be sick. Wang Zhong in front of him was his way to live in a mansion, drive a luxury car, and keep young models and college students. How could he give up? He immediately ran over and tried to stop Wang Zhong. Hey. You can talk. Why are you pulling me? The police hurriedly blocked Wang Zhong. Officer, you saw it too. He keeps saying that he's sick. Actually, he's fine. Wang Zhong shouted. The matter was actually very clear. The two police officers naturally knew what was going on. They were speechless about Li Erqing's family. How could there be such a shameless person in this world? However, they wouldn't say anything. They only advised, it's already so late. Let's go back first. If you insist, contact a lawyer and file a lawsuit. A lawsuit was too slow for Li Erqing. He couldn't afford to waste so much time. So he immediately shouted, Li Tu, how can you be so unfilial? I'm already here to meet you. What else do you want me to do? Unfilial. How can there be such an unfilial person in this world? Du Xiaohong's voice was even louder. Li Gao tried to persuade Wang Zhong, Big brother, Dad really misses you. Seeing that the three of them were about to rush over and grab Wang Zhong said helplessly, Officer, I want to sue them for harassment. Arrest them. Harassing others for no reason and disrupting social order would result in 3 to 15 days of public security punishment. Seeing that Li Erqing's family of 3 had no intention of stopping, the two policemen nodded. Let's go to the station first. Why are you arresting us? We didn't do anything wrong. Li Erqing turned pale with fright. Beast, you actually want to send your father to prison, disgraceful. Du Xiaohong is also shouting. Several auxiliary police officers can't catch her. Wang Zhong didn't want to be long-winded, so he turned around and left. He didn't know what happened to Li Erqing and the others that night, but when he was at work, he heard from the security guard that the police had called for backup and arrested them all. When he just got to work, Wang Zhong also received a call from the police station, asking him to go to the station to clarify things. Otherwise, the three of them wouldn't be locked up for long. So Wang Zhong went over. As soon as he entered the interrogation room, he heard Li Erqing's eyes were red as he scolded Wang Zhong. "Unfilial son, how can I have such an unfilial son like you? You're really the same as your dead mother, an ungrateful wretch, bah." "Mr. Li, according to Li Erqing's household register, he is indeed your father, although you may not have been in contact for a long time." After a night of investigation, the police also found out about Wang Zhong and Li Erqing's information, so they knew about their relationship. Wang Zhong didn't hide and nodded. "I haven't seen Li Erqing since I was 3 or 4 years old. Even when my mother passed away, Li Erqing didn't appear. According to the law, we are not related, so I have no obligation to recognize him." "Well, I will help you say it, but I'm worried that Li Erqing's family will cause trouble." "Forget it, I'll do it myself." Wang Zhong walked in and saw Li Erqing staring at him. "The police found out about our relationship. Now you finally know that I'm your father, right? Hurry up and let me go. I will still give you fatherly love in the future. Otherwise, you will be struck by lightning if you spread the news of your father being sent to prison." Li Erqing was very calm. He felt that he had Wang Zhong under control. After all, the police had found out about their relationship, and he was indeed Li Tu's father. He could also see that Li Tu didn't want to recognize him, but that was fine. As long as they were related, what was he afraid of? When the time came, even if they fell out, he would ask Wang Zhong for alimony at most, and it couldn't be less, just a few 100 million would be enough. Unexpectedly, Wang Zhong just looked at him with a cold smile. "Li Erqing, do you think that you have me under control? Seeing that I'm rich, you came over to recognize me as your father. Is there such a good thing in this world? I haven't seen you since I was 3 or 4 years old. Legally, we are no longer related. If you insist on causing trouble, I can only send you here. He, we are no longer related just because you say so? If it wasn't for me, would you have been born? Would you have lived so comfortably? You unfilial son, you are just like your mother." Li Erqing's words made Wang Zhong furious. "Fine, you want to play? Do you believe that I can get a bunch of people to break your legs with just a phone call?" Since the police weren't in the house and he didn't speak loudly, Wang Zhong directly threatened him. This made Li Erqing's heart skip a beat. He realized that his son was much more difficult to deal with than he thought. Li Tu was a rich man, the very rich kind. When the time came, wouldn't it be easy to deal with him by spending some money? "I know you hate me, but blood is thicker than water. Ever since I found out you were here, I haven't been able to eat. I just wanted to see you. Li Tu, just acknowledge me as your father. Let's be a good family." Li Tu's eyes widened as he said, "Don't worry, I'm sorry. I know you hate me, but blood is thicker than water. Ever since I found out you were here, I couldn't eat." Now, Li Erqing was gambling. He bet that Wang Zhong was a soft-hearted person. If he softened his attitude and admitted his mistakes, Wang Zhong would probably acknowledge him. At this moment, he had already decided that once he acknowledged Wang Zhong as his father, he would teach him a lesson. How dare he send him to prison? Did he think that he, Li Erqing, was a pushover? When the time came, he would definitely take away Li Tu's assets. Ha ha ha, blood is thicker than water? You're such a vicious person. How could you say something like that? What a joke. Li Erqing, no matter what, I will not acknowledge you as my father. If you insist on pestering me, I will make sure that you regret it. All right. Since you said so, as your father, I can't say anything else. But aren't you afraid that the reporters will spread the news? You have to know that you're a celebrity now. If this matter is known, you won't have a good time, right? How about this? You can give me a few 100 million and I will definitely not harass you. How about that? Li Erqing decided to settle for the next best thing. A few 100 million to spend first. Just a few 100 million? Wang Zhong glared at him. Are you crazy about money? You want me to give you a few 100 million? Li Erqing, let me tell you, I won't even give you a few dollars, let alone a few 100 million. Just give up. How can you be like this? Li Erqing's face was filled with disappointment. He didn't expect Wang Zhong to be as heartless as him. He wasn't even willing to give him a few dollars. You can continue to cause trouble. I hope you'll always be safe, Wang Zhong said calmly. You don't do anything rash. Li Erqing was scared. I'm leaving. Wang Zhong didn't even look back. After leaving the police station, Wang Zhong went to the company. Yao Bing and Su Xiaoyan found him immediately. They looked worried. After all, this matter could be big or small. Wang Zhong was a celebrity and an entrepreneur. If news of him not acknowledging his father were to spread, it would be bad for his reputation. Seeing Yao Bing and Su Xiaoyan's worry, Wang Zhong smiled. He wasn't worried at all. He still had the upper hand in this matter. As a person who abandoned his wife and children for decades, everyone knew what to say. Of course, there were many saints in this world. In the past, Wang Zhong watched a show. A family valued boys over girls and abandoned their daughter when she was very young. After their daughter grew up and became a university student, the family unexpectedly came looking for their daughter again. They cried and begged to acknowledge their daughter. The girl had quite a temper. She said that she wouldn't acknowledge them and would go wherever she wanted. The family didn't give up. They even went to the program crew and went to the television station to beg for their daughter's forgiveness. What surprised everyone was that the program crew actually sided with the family. They said that what happened in the past was in the past. Everyone made mistakes. Since her parents came looking for her, then she should acknowledge them. The girl was very domineering. She didn't even go there. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. The matter was on the news. Many saints accused the girl of being unfilial. However, more people supported the girl. That was the difference. Therefore, although saints were disgusting, they couldn't cause much of a stir. Moreover, to Wang Zhong, he didn't care about his reputation. In a capitalist society, the rich were the masters. As long as he had money, he didn't have to worry about anyone. In the past, which rich person had a good reputation? Those with a good reputation usually ended up in a miserable state. Of course, this wasn't absolute. However, this was Wang Zhong's point of view. Therefore, he smiled at Yao Bing and Su Xiaoyan. Don't worry. If he really dares to make a big deal out of this, I'll give him an accident. Li Tu, don't do anything rash, Yao Bing said worriedly. Brother Li, I didn't want to say it, but you can't be impulsive, Su Xiaoyan said worriedly. Wang Zhong knew that they were worried that he would do something illegal. Wang Zhong smiled. You're thinking too much. I'm a public figure now. Why would I do anything rash? So what you mean is, I'll just find some people to scare them. When dealing with such unreasonable people, you can't reason with them. You have to use your fists. Only then can they be afraid. Chapter 608. Li Tu, I'm going to teach you a lesson. After being locked up for 3 days, Li Erqing was finally let out. However, he quickly threw Wang Zhong's threat to the back of his mind. After all, Wang Zhong's status was too high. With so much money, how could he give up so easily? At the same time, he hated Wang Zhong to the core. How dare you lock me up? I just abandoned you when you were young. I didn't hurt you. I'm still your father. You disgraceful thing. I'm going to ruin your reputation. Li Erqing got angrier and angrier as he thought about it. The first thing he thought of was to find a reporter. Sub. How dare you put us in jail? Li Erqing, you useless thing. You can't even control your son. At this time, Du Xiaohong also came out cursing. Li Gao also came out with her. The 3 days in prison had bored the whole family to death, especially Li Gao. The food in the prison was so bland that it was almost tasteless. In the place where he lived, there were also several gangsters who were not very polite to him, which made him very sad. Stop talking. Li Tu is an unfilial son. Why are you yelling at me? Li Urching replied rudely. Dad, what should we do now? Li Gao walked over helplessly. His mind was in a mess. After he came out of the detention center, he took out his phone. After he turned it on, he found that many classmates had contacted him and asked him how he was doing. What could he say? Wang Zhong did not even acknowledge them. But he could not say these words. It would be embarrassing. He wanted to ignore them, but his favorite class Belle also contacted him several times and said that she wanted to come here to play. This made him very uncomfortable. It was impossible for him to ignore the prettiest girl in the class, because the prettiest girl in the class was the girl he liked the most. Although she didn't admit it, Li Gao had already treated her as his first love in his heart. His first love sent him messages. Of course, he had to reply. Li Gao, why haven't you replied recently? Where are you? Looking at the last message, Li Gao replied helplessly, Last time I played with my brother at the water park, my phone fell into the water. My brother bought me a new phone today. Your brother is so rich. He must have bought you a good phone. Li Gao. Yeah, he treats me quite well. Since he had already acted cool, Li Gao could only write this message. Let me tell you a piece of good news. Didn't you ask me to come over last time? I'm going to come over to your place to play. Looking at the message, Li Gao opened his mouth in disbelief. Originally, he would be very happy if the prettiest girl in the class came here. But now, he hadn't succeeded in recognizing her. Why would she come here at this time? The class Belle continued to send messages. I'm preparing to leave tomorrow. I'll treat you to a meal then. This class Belle still had some tricks up her sleeves. She took the initiative to say that she would treat them to a meal to win their favor. Sure enough, the immature Li Gao sighed with emotion. This was really a good girl. The prettiest girl in the class must be interested in him. Otherwise, why would she treat him to a meal? After thinking about it, Li Gao decided to ask the class Belle to come over. Although he couldn't recognize her now, it was fine. He believed that if he had a good chat with the prettiest girl in class, he might be able to woo her. Therefore, he sent a message to the class Belle, I'll come and pick you up. After sending it, he walked over and asked, Dad, what should we do now? Why don't we go back? Du Xiaohong didn't want to go to jail again. Go back my ass. This brat dares to not recognize me. How can there be such a reason in the world? Just wait and see. I'll teach him a lesson. Li Urching snorted coldly, Let's go first and find a small hotel to stay. Several days passed in a row. Su Wanqi recovered quickly after giving birth. She could get out of bed and walk. His daughter, Li Qiqi, was taken good care of every day. After thinking about it again and again, Wang Zhong decided to hire a servant. The servant was an auntie with a high-level housekeeping certificate. This kind of servant was very tight-lipped. At the same time, Wang Zhong signed an agreement with her not to spread the news of the family. Otherwise, she would be held responsible. Therefore, the servant was invited in. On Li Gao's side, he finally welcomed his goddess, the class Belle, Tan Ying. Originally, Tan Ying was supposed to come over very early. However, something came up at the last minute, so she only came now. As soon as she got off the train, Tan Ying saw Li Gao and waved excitedly. Tan Ying seemed very enthusiastic. In the past, Tan Ying didn't pay attention to Li Gao at all. Now that Li Gao was going to make a fortune, Tan Ying came to send him off. However, Tan Ying was obviously more scheming than Li Gao. She didn't say that she was looking for Li Gao. Instead, she said that she was traveling. Secondly, although Li Gao said that he recognized the boss of the Dahai Bay group as his big brother, this was only Li Gao's one-sided statement. She had to check it on the spot. So, she came over. Li Gao, where's your car? After seeing Li Gao, Tan frowned because she found that it was completely different from what she thought. Li Gao kept saying that he had a luxury car and a villa on the phone. However, Li Gao actually took a taxi to pick her up. Tan, I'm sorry. My brother drove the car away in the morning. Li Gao could see that Tan came over purely because he bragged that Wang Zhong was his brother, so he didn't dare to tell the truth. His idea also changed from pursuing Tan to sleeping with Tan first. Then, he would use his sincerity to touch her. Tan nodded. I see. But your brother is such a big boss. Next time, I will accompany you next time. It's getting late. Why don't we eat something and then go back to the room to rest? Okay, I want to stay in a 5-star hotel tonight. I haven't stayed there for so long. 5-star hotel. Li Gao's expression changed. In fact, Tan said this because she was ready to be together with Li Gao. Of course, the premise was that she wanted to meet Wang Zhong in person. But after listening to Tan words, Li Gao's heart skipped a beat. Staying in a 5-star hotel was not a problem, but the problem was that he had no money. A night there would cost a few thousand yuan. How could he afford it? What's wrong, Li Gao? Is there a problem? Looking at Li Gao's behavior, Tan felt more and more strange. Originally, she wanted to hold Li Gao's hand and give him some benefits. But seeing him like this, she didn't want to do so. No problem, it's just… Tan, I'm afraid you don't know. The hotel's business is too good. It's full every day. Full? Yes, so you see, I've arranged another good place for you. I'm sure you'll like it. Let's go out first. Okay then. Tan was now sure that there was a problem with Li Gao because she had checked the hotel online before and found that she could make a reservation. This meant that the room was empty. The only possibility now was that Li Gao was hiding it from her. Tan, let's go and eat something. I know a noodle restaurant these days. It's delicious. Li Gao's original intention was to eat cheaper. But Tan didn't reply at this time because she saw a luxury car stopped at the entrance of the amusement park. She saw Wang Zhong coming down from the car. Li Gao, isn't this your brother? After seeing Wang Zhong, Tan instantly realized that Li Gao was too weak compared to Wang Zhong. Look at him, not only was he dressed in famous brands, but he was also handsome and had a good temperament. For a moment, Tan was stunned. Ah, it's really him. Li Gao looked excited. He wanted to immediately go over and acknowledge his brother. In his opinion, Wang Zhong didn't acknowledge them because he was angry with his father. But he was innocent. They were brothers. Li too could definitely acknowledge him. Big brother. Li Gao directly shouted. Chapter 609. Big brother. Li Gao shouted and said to Tan, wait here for a while. I'll say hello to my brother. As he spoke, he walked over with an excited expression. Tan was also very excited. Looking at the situation, Li too really recognized Li Gao. Although she had no feelings for Li Gao, she had feelings for money. As long as Li Gao was really a rich second generation, she didn't mind having something with him. Thinking of this, Tan flipped her hair confidently. She had absolute confidence in herself. Wang Zhong was here for an inspection today. He came here several times a week. To his surprise, he heard someone calling him Big Brother as soon as he got out of the car. Li Gao. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows and looked around worriedly. He was wondering if Li Erqing had come over. Big Brother, I didn't expect to meet you here. Li Gao looked excited. My parents didn't come. Big Brother, I know you're angry with my dad. To be honest, I'm angry too. But I'm innocent. I'm your brother. How about this? I'll treat you to a meal and we can talk. Are you an idiot? I don't know you and I don't want to have anything to do with you, Wang Zhong said coldly. Big Brother. Li Gao's heart sank. Hello, Mr. Li. I'm Li Gao's classmate, Tan. I didn't expect to meet you here. It was very noisy here. Tan Ning didn't hear Wang Zhong's words, so she walked over to greet him. Oh, hello. But your classmate doesn't seem to be very smart. Wang Zhong pointed to his head and continued, I don't know him. I don't know why he's trying to get close to me. What? Tan Ning was stunned. Big brother, you. I understand that you're angry with my dad, but you can't disown me. Li Gao was very upset to be embarrassed in front of his first love. Li Gao, I didn't expect you to lie to me. Before Wang Zhong could say anything, Tan Ning spoke first. How can you be like this? How can you lie? Tan Ning, listen to me. You don't have to explain, Mr. Li Tuesday. I'm your fan. This person said that he knows you and you're his big brother. I was so naive to believe him. Boo-hoo. I'm so stupid. The woman got into character very quickly and started crying. Don't cry. Wang Zhong took the opportunity to hug Tan Ning and comfort her. Thank you, Mr. Li. You're so nice. Would you like to have a meal with me? Wang Zhong asked calmly. Okay. Tan Ying's eyes lit up. Her plan had finally succeeded. Although Li Gao was a liar, she was lucky enough to meet Li Tu himself. With her beauty, Li Tu took the bait. Okay, get in my car. Wang Zhong opened the car door and Tan Ning got in. Tan Ning, you. What are you going to do? Li Gao was stunned. He looked at this scene in disbelief. Li Gao, remember this. Don't ever appear in front of me again. Leave this city with your family. After saying those harsh words, Wang Zhong got into the car. Inside the car, Wang Zhong took the opportunity to hug Tan Ning. Li Gao's eyes widened. This was his first love. Not only did Li Tu not recognize him as his brother, he even kidnapped his first love. As a man, Li Gao certainly knew what would happen after Tan Ning got in Wang Zhong's car. When he thought of the scene where Tan Ning was under Wang Zhong's body, his heart ached. My first love was actually abducted by someone else. Li Gao cried, Tan Ning, don't go. Don't go. He's a scumbag. He's a beast. Don't go. He chased after Wang Zhong's car. Unfortunately, the car was already far away. Wang Zhong took Tan Ning away. Other than Tan Ying's good looks, it was more to piss off Li Gao. He wanted Li Gao to give up completely. What brother, what family? It was all bullshit. He wanted Li Gao to know that he, Li Tu, was a ruthless person. If he wanted to recognize him as family, he could go eat shit. Tan Ning was a very observant girl. She knew that Wang Zhong hated Li Gao, so she kept saying bad things about Li Gao. Wang Zhong also liked Tan Ning. Of course, he only liked her little mouth. Tan Ying's character was just like that. Wang Zhong naturally didn't like her. Therefore, Wang Zhong took her to a hotel outside. Tan Ning didn't refuse at all. After that, Wang Zhong directly gave her 200,000 yuan and asked her to stay here for a few more days during the holiday. Thank you, Brother Li. After receiving 200,000 yuan, Tan Ning was so excited that she was about to float. She secretly thought that her 1 hour of effort was not wasted. Of course, Wang Zhong didn't tell the 3 girls about what happened here. He didn't want them to be angry again. However, Tan Ying's methods were really good. Wang Zhong went there for a few days in a row. During the day, Tan Ning also went to the water park to play. Wang Zhong was very polite and let her play as she pleased. Tan Ying's vanity was greatly satisfied. On the other hand, Li Gao could see Tan Ying's play news in her circle of friends almost every day. He knew that Tan Ning was still here. She played in the water park during the day and stayed in a hotel at night. His heart was cold. That was his goddess, his favorite girl. She was usually high and mighty, like an otherworldly fairy. He didn't expect that Li Tu would snatch her away. This was unforgivable. His father, Li Erching, finally thought of an idea. He contacted a tabloid reporter and prepared to smear Wang Zhong's reputation. Humph, this reporter has already agreed to come. When the time comes, we must teach Li Tu a lesson. After Li Erching contacted the reporter, he told the news to his wife and son. Du Xiaohong said excitedly, "Yes, we must teach that kid a lesson. He's not even an entrepreneur. Pooh, he's worse than a pig and a dog. He even abandoned his own father. Dad, when will the reporter come? When the time comes, we must ruin his reputation." Li Gao also spoke fiercely. Now, he hated Wang Zhong completely because he had snatched away the woman he loved the most. He said he's on the way. Let's go down and get something to eat first. The family of three went downstairs. Just as they reached the ground floor, a group of gangsters surrounded them and pushed them back into the house. Li Erching, Li Gao, Du Xiaohong, right? The one who spoke was a guy with a scar on his face. He looked unusually fierce. "BBB brother, we didn't do anything wrong, right? Why are you looking for us?" Li Erching saw the gangster's appearance and was instantly terrified. He even spoke awkwardly. One of the bosses said to leave immediately. "Otherwise, we'll teach you a lesson. We'll keep an eye on you today. If you don't leave tomorrow, we'll break your legs." After that, the group went downstairs. However, they didn't leave at all. Instead, they stayed at the door. After a while, a tabloid reporter wanted to go upstairs. However, just as he reached Li Erching's door, he was dragged away by the gangsters and kicked a few times. The poor reporter didn't even know why he was beaten. In the end, his phone was trampled to pieces. Although the reporter called the police in the end, the gangsters who beat him up were all old foxes. They directly said that they didn't like the reporter and beat him up. In the end, the reporter and the gangsters who beat him up were taken away. Li Erching saw this scene. For a moment, the family of three felt their hearts turn cold. It must be Li Tuesday. He did it. Li Tu hired these gangsters. Du Xiaohong swallowed a mouthful of saliva. She suddenly felt that they were dreaming too much about reuniting with their family. "Dad, Mom, let's go." There were many gangsters. Li Gao was worried that they would be beaten. Especially when the boss said that if they didn't leave, their legs would be broken. He also considered calling the police. However, what could he say? They didn't hit him. They were just waiting downstairs. He couldn't do anything about it. That night, the family of three bought tickets and went home gloomily. Of course, Wang Zhong was naturally worried. These gangsters were sent by Wang Zhong to secretly monitor the family. If they still contacted reporters, he would teach them a lesson. These gangsters were contacted by Wang Zhong through his connections. He spent some money to get them to do some dirty work. It was very convenient. After settling these matters, Su Xiaoyan also had a child that year. The next year, Yao Bing also had a child. However, Wang Zhong still didn't get married. Their family said the same thing as Yao Bing, that Wang Zhong had a fear of marriage. Regarding this, Su Wanqi's parents were already dead. She had no one to care about her, so she was fine. Su Xiaoyan's mother was now very afraid of Wang Zhong. After seeing that Su Xiaoyan was living well and occasionally gave her some money to spend, she was relieved. As for Yao Bing, needless to say, Yao Bing's mother was even more affectionate with Wang Zhong than with Yao Bing. She was indeed a mother who loved money. In the following days, the family lived very smoothly. Although there were difficulties, because they had money, the problems they encountered were not a problem. In these few years, Wang Zhong learned that Li Erching's family had died one after another. Because Li Gao's family was poor, he got a married wife and lived like this for the rest of his life. Yao Bing's mother met with a car accident and was killed on the spot by a truck. She died very miserably. When she passed away, she was not happy at all. Su Xiaoyan's parents had died of illness. When her brother was released from prison, he became much more obedient. Wang Zhong made him work at a construction site. After that, he finally became sensible and got married. Their family lived a good life. Su Wanqi and the Su family completely broke off. After that, they never contacted each other. However, Su Wanqi didn't care. Anyway, she didn't have any feelings for the Su family. This was good. In this way, Wang Zhong smoothly lived until he was 52 years old. To be honest, in modern society, 52 years was the age of tigers and wolves. Wang Zhong could be said to be old but vigorous. However, Wang Zhong never expected that he would have a terminal illness. He had cancer. Moreover, it was the most serious lymphoma. When it was diagnosed, the disease was already in the late stage. Even if he had seen many doctors, it was still useless. Wang Zhong, who had experienced many life and death separations, was a lot more indifferent. Therefore, he decided not to see a doctor. During this period, Wang Zhong and his family often went out to enjoy the scenery of nature. They were all old, but women in modern society took good care of themselves. Therefore, Su Wanqi and the rest were still very beautiful. Unfortunately, they were not happy because in just half a year, Wang Zhong was seriously ill and couldn't get out of bed. I don't think I will live for long. Chapter 610. I think he won't live for long. Late at night, Wang Zhong murmured as he lay on the bed. Wang Zhong did not choose to go to the hospital. Instead, he spent a lot of money to buy medical equipment and a whole team of medical staff to take care of him. Even so, his condition deteriorated quickly. Sob, Dad. As the eldest daughter, Li Qiqi naturally shouldered the heavy responsibility of taking care of Wang Zhong. Looking at the dying Wang Zhong on the bed, she burst into tears. Su Wanqi, Su Xiaoyan, Yao Bing, and the other children also stood outside the door, sobbing silently. As of now, the Li family had already become one of the top families in this area, and their reputation had spread far and wide. Wang Zhong had never married in his entire life, but the fact that he had 3 beautiful wives was no longer news. However, no one could say anything. After all, Wang Zhong was not married. It was not illegal to have 3 wives. The door of the ward opened. The attending doctor sighed slightly and shook his head at Yao Bing and the rest. Let's see Mr. Li for the last time. Sob, sob, sob. The whole family walked in. Wang Zhong was wearing an oxygen mask over his mouth. When he sensed that his family had entered, he removed the mask with great difficulty. Dad. The youngest son, Li Xiaofan, hurried over and removed the mask for Wang Zhong. I've already distributed the family's inheritance. I'll leave it to you 3 mothers. You have to be obedient in the future. Wang Zhong spoke with difficulty. The room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. No one spoke. Everyone was listening carefully to Wang Zhong. Before this, Wang Zhong's lawyer had already settled some of the details of the inheritance. Wang Zhong believed that there should be no problems after his death. Li too. Yao Bing cried and held Wang Zhong's hand tightly. Wang Zhong glanced at everyone in the room. Su Xiaoyan, Su Wanqi. He wanted to say more, but when the words were about to come out of his mouth, his body suddenly hurt. Beep. On the monitor, the heartbeat feature had become a horizontal line. Wang Zhong's pupils gradually dilated. His head tilted to the side and he stopped breathing. On this day, Wang Zhong left. Woo woo woo. Sorrowful cries came from all over the Li family. Mission character, Honest Li Tuesday mission objective. I want to be a jerk. Lifespan, 53 partner, 0. Although you have someone you love, you are not married. Offspring, 6. Although you and the person you love are not married, you still have a child, and a lot of children. Congratulations. Achievement evaluation. Although your life is very happy, your scumbag nature still hasn't been revealed. Reward obtained, 3000 EXP. Seeing the EXP reward, Wang Zhong was stunned. This was the least reward he had received after playing this game for so long. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong was a little speechless. He guessed that the reason for this was because he was not a complete scumbag. Wang Zhong didn't think too much about it. After all, he didn't lack EXP now. After turning off the system, Wang Zhong rested for a night. For the next few days, he continued to manage the car market business. Before entering the game, he already knew that his 4S store was about to be demolished. Therefore, the previous boss, He Jianda, wanted to redeem the company. Of course, Wang Zhong didn't agree. He Jianda brought people to threaten him. In the end, Wang Zhong contacted the dark net and created an accident to get rid of He Jianda. After 3 days, as expected, 5 employees came to the company to discuss the demolition of the place. Wang Zhong naturally agreed. He didn't ask for a higher price. He only asked for the market price. The relocation of the 4S store started. Since he had nothing to do, he spent a sum of money to buy a hotel. In this life, he had run a hotel before. Therefore, he knew how to run a hotel business. As for the employees who didn't want to stay, Wang Zhong gave them severance pay. Those who were willing to stay were prepared to be trained and sent to a 5-star hotel to work. Anyway, the hotel was bought. The interior decoration was ready-made. The original owner of the hotel seemed to want to expand, so he sold the hotel. Su, you should rest for the next few days. When the hotel opens, you can go to work. The 4S store was about to be demolished. Sun Su didn't need to stay here. But I don't know much about that. Sun Su actually wanted to work at the hotel. After these days of contact, she had some feelings for Wang Zhong. Most importantly, the salary Wang Zhong gave her was quite good. Sun Su didn't like the unspoken rules. However, Wang Zhong didn't ask her to do anything. She would be stupid not to take the money. It's okay. You can learn slowly. Wang Zhong didn't care. Thank you, boss. You are so nice. Since she got a good deal, Sun Su wouldn't be stingy with her flattery. His work had finally come to an end. As Wang Zhong was busy, he drove home very late. He happened to pass by Qin Yang's restaurant. Wang Zhong was a little hungry. He stopped at the side of the road. Before he entered, Wang Zhong saw Qin Yang greeting customers. This beauty has the potential to be a car model. Wang Zhong smiled in his heart. This time, he didn't want to do anything with Qin Yang. He just wanted to have a meal. But when he reached the door, Wang Zhong was stunned. Mute girl. He saw a woman with long and thin hair. She was wearing a waitress uniform. She was wiping the table. Someone asked her to pay the bill, but she just gestured. Obviously, she was mute. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that after meeting Sun Xiuxiu, he would meet the mute girl. The mute girl was a girl in the world of tribal war. Wang Zhong had a deep impression of her. Stepping into the restaurant, the mute girl looked very tired. But even so, she still tried to serve customers. A bowl of wonton, Wang Zhong said. It's you. At first, Qin Yang's face lit up with joy. However, when she thought about how Wang Zhong had only given her $300 after sleeping with her, she felt a burst of discomfort in her heart. But she still came over to greet him. Yes. Wang Zhong nodded. I just got off work and passed by your restaurant. I'm hungry and want to eat something. Just a bowl of wonton? Can you eat enough? Why don't you treat me? Wang Zhong joked. Okay. You are a regular customer. Qin Yang didn't know why she agreed to Wang Zhong's request. He only gave her 300 yuan last time. Now, she didn't even want to talk to Wang Zhong. Then, Qin Yang asked the kitchen to prepare a steamed chicken, a bowl of pork rib soup, and stir-fried vegetables. Eat. It's just some home-cooked dishes. Then I won't be polite. While Wang Zhong was eating, Qin Yang went back to work. While eating, Wang Zhong would occasionally glance at the busy mute girl from the corner of his eyes. Similar, too similar. Not only was the appearance similar, but even some of the mute girl's movements, body movements, and working habits were exactly the same. However, Wang Zhong didn't go over to greet her. The story of tribal war was over. There was no need to have any contact in this life. Wang Zhong only knew Sun Su before. Now that he knew she didn't have any impression of him, Wang Zhong had already given up trying to make her remember anything. Miss Qin, come to my car. I want to talk to you about something. After eating, Wang Zhong wiped his mouth and said, "Ah, in the car?" Qin Yang's face turned red. She thought Wang Zhong wanted to spend 300 yuan in the car after eating and drinking to his heart's content. "Can't we talk in my office?" Qin Yang didn't want to be seen by passers-by in the parking lot. "Just come." Wang Zhong's voice was unquestionable. "This guy." Qin Yang snorted and gritted her teeth. "If he dares to do anything, I will definitely reject him." After entering the car, Qin Yang said, "Why did I come to your car?" "The mute girl in your shop." Wang Zhong pointed. "Who is she to you? Don't tell me you like her." Qin Yang raised her eyebrows. Although the mute girl's body wasn't as good as hers, she was very pretty. Many male customers wanted to pursue her when she worked here. However, those people were obviously unreliable. Qin Yang bluntly rejected them on behalf of the mute girl. She didn't expect that even Wang Zhong liked the mute girl. "Let me tell you, the mute girl is from my hometown. Don't you dare have any ideas about her," Qin Yang said bluntly. "Seems like you care about her." "Of course. The mute girl is very kind. I don't want her to be hurt. Nowadays, there are not many girls as innocent as her." "Well, okay. Then I am relieved." Wang Zhong nodded silently. He originally thought that if Qin Yang didn't treat the mute girl well, he would think of a way to remind Qin Yang. Now it seemed that there was no need for that. "What do you mean?" Qin Yang was stunned by the question. "Actually, I see that the girl is mute. Seeing that she has a hard life, I want you to take care of her. Later, you can take her to the hospital. Seeing that she can hear, it means that her voice can be cured. I will pay for the cost." You are really willing to do this?" "Of course, please." Wang Zhong took out a ton of money from the side and gave it to Qin Yang. "The extra money is for your hard work." "It's not hard at all." Qin Yang was actually a good person. Otherwise, she wouldn't take care of the mute girl. She said gratefully, "Actually, the mute girl's family situation is really bad. She and her grandmother depend on each other." After chatting for a while, Qin Yang got out of the car. She felt that it was a pity that Wang Zhong didn't want her this time. The car drove on the road. Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. It was really strange to meet real characters in the game one after another in real life. When he arrived at the entrance of his neighborhood, Wang Zhong frowned. There was a car following behind him. He thought for a moment. After he turned good, he had dealt with all the people he had offended. Who could be following him? The corner of Wang Zhong's mouth curled up slightly. Interesting. He wasn't worried at all. With his strength, he could almost do anything on this planet. The people following him obviously didn't know his strength. If they knew, they wouldn't dare to follow him. The car entered the neighborhood. Sure enough, this group of people followed him into the neighborhood. After that, Wang Zhong went upstairs. At the same time, he released his spirit energy and faintly sensed his surroundings. When he came to the door, he found that Shan Shuangshuang wasn't at home. Chapter 6:11. Shan Shuangshuang was not at home. This was a bit strange. In the past, Shan Shuangshuang would definitely be at home at this time. But today, she was not at home. Wang Zhong's expression was cold. Shan Shuangshuang was now his maid. Who had the guts to deal with his maid? Or was this all a coincidence? No matter what, the people who followed him also went upstairs, but only one person went upstairs. Wang Zhong did not give himself away. He pretended not to know and opened the door to enter the house. He wanted to see what the purpose of these people was. Ding dong, ding dong. It was different from what Wang Zhong thought. The person who followed him actually took the initiative to press the doorbell. When he opened the door, it was the same as what he had observed. What he saw was a woman with slender limbs, clear lines, and a very fashionable dress. She was wearing a black silk skirt. At first glance, she looked like a beauty in a romance movie. Because he knew what she looked like, Wang Zhong did not show a surprised look. He went straight to the point and asked, "What's the matter, beautiful?" He deliberately pretended to be puzzled. This could be considered as pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. "Hello, I am here to talk to you about something that you are interested in." The black silk beauty revealed a gentle smile. If he did not see that this woman was not an ordinary person, Wang Zhong would have thought that she was a bubble bath masseuse. "How much?" Wang Zhong deliberately asked. "How much? Didn't you say that you want to talk about something that you are interested in?" "I am quite interested in you. How much does it cost to have sex with you?" Wang Zhong's expression was calm. The black-stocked beauty stared blankly for a moment. Her smiling face gradually calmed down, and finally became angry. "Stop pretending, criminal Wang Zhong. You are here to catch me." Wang Zhong felt a headache coming on. He had already concealed himself very well, but he was still discovered. He was thinking about where exactly he had gone wrong. Thinking of this, Wang Zhong was already secretly preparing to take action. "Don't worry, I'm not here to capture you. I'm just here to talk to you about something you're interested in. You slaughtered the entire organization of your enemy, Chen Qing. Don't tell me you don't know who we are?" At this moment, the woman in front of him was no longer beautiful, but dangerous. Of course, this danger was only for ordinary people. To Wang Zhong, this woman gave him the feeling that he could consider bullying her. Wang Zhong stared at the woman calmly. He knew where these people came from. After taking his revenge, Chen Qing begged for mercy. Before he died, Chen Qing told him about superpowered people. He even said that this world was different from what they knew. As long as he let him go, he was willing to tell him everything he knew. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong wasn't interested in these classes. Hence, he dealt with Chen Qing back then. In the following days, there was no news about the Esper. Now, it seemed that the Esper had come looking for him. "Come in." Wang Zhong turned sideways and invited the woman into the house. "Don't worry. Why don't you disturb our chat? I sent someone to create a small car accident for Shen Shuangshuang. She won't be back for a while." After entering the house, the black-stocked beauty seemed to know the layout of Wang Zhong's house very well. She sat directly on the sofa. "I was wondering why she didn't come back today. It turns out that she was entangled by your people." Wang Zhong nodded silently. If she had said that Shan Shuangshuang had been killed by them, he could guarantee that this black-stocked beauty's head would have been kicked off by him. "Let's not talk nonsense. Prisoner Wang Zhong, I'll tell you the truth. You're not an ordinary person, right?" The black-stocked beauty crossed her long legs and continued, "According to our investigation, you were originally paralyzed. However, you suddenly gained a magical power and left the prison. Then, through your previous network, you cleared your identity and finally succeeded in your revenge. Well, I admit that I'm a superpowered person. Are you one too? Did the country send you?" Wang Zhong asked. In fact, there are no superpowered people in this world. The so-called superpowered people are just a group of people who can absorb spiritual energy. The term superpowered people is used by a group of people who don't know anything about it. Our real identity is a cultivator. The woman said. "Well, cultivator." Wang Zhong was not surprised. "As for me, I'm not sent by any country. I'm from Spirit Dream Sect. My name is Zhao Meng." Zhao Meng was very polite. She took out some documents from her bag and said, "This is some information about our Spirit Dream Sect. You can take a look at it. The following is about the situation of this world. This content is the investigation of our sect for the past 100 years. This was the information of this world." Wang Zhong was, of course, very curious about it. So, he looked at it. More than 100 years ago, some changes suddenly occurred in this world. Some people were gifted with unique talents. They were suddenly able to absorb a kind of gas that appeared in the air. After absorbing the gas, their strength doubled. Some martial artists even cultivated a huge amount of energy that was comparable to artillery shells. Later, Some people found out that all this was because a small world had appeared in some corner. That small world had several entrances. The specific number and location were unknown. However, there were definitely more than 100 entrances. It was through that small world that spiritual energy could enter this world. And this spirit dream sect was one of the sects in that small world. According to the introduction, that sect seemed to be very powerful. There were countless powerful people in the sect. The people of Yellow Earth Star cultivated in the Spirit Dream sect. They obtained the inheritance and returned to Yellow Earth Star to bring glory to their ancestors. Miss Xiaomeng, it seems that there are many people who cultivate. Then why are there so few people in this world who know about it? Wang Zhong asked. This is because those who can cultivate have gone there. They can't come here without permission. Moreover, that world has a rule that no one can casually change the order of this place. Otherwise, everyone will kill them. In addition, according to my master, the cultivators of that world are unable to come here because the power of the rules is too strong. Therefore, there are not many cultivators in this world. This time, we came to find you because we noticed that you have some strength. We are worried that you will cause trouble. Do you understand? I understand. Wang Zhong nodded. Well, if you want, you can join our Spirit Dream sect. You have read the introduction of our Spirit Dream sect. Looking at the entire small world filled with spiritual energy, it is not the best, but it is still a top sect. The most important thing is that the disciples and elders of the sect are all talented people. Are you trying to say that your words are nice? Wang Zhong cursed in his heart. He could see that Zhao Meng had come to recruit him. If I join your Spirit Dream sect, does it mean that I will have to go to the small world filled with spiritual energy? Wang Zhong asked. Of course not. Zhao Meng smiled and explained, your strength is not high. At most, you are an outer disciple, so you can only stay on planet Yellow Earth. Of course, you don't have to worry about your studies. The sect has specially sent someone to teach you cultivation knowledge. There doesn't seem to be anything to do in Yellow Earth Star. Wang Zhong really did not understand what to do in Yellow Earth Star. Don't underestimate the tasks in Yellow Earth Star. Now that the spiritual energy in the small world is leaking, many people with strength like yours have appeared in Yellow Earth Star. Not all of them are obedient. Sometimes, we have to bear the responsibility of hunting them down. In other words, you have cooperation with the government. Yes, in fact, we have been watching you for more than a month after you escaped. However, we did not expect that you would be able to deal with your enemy in such a short time. Zhao Meng also had a general understanding of Wang Zhong's revenge. However, she did not know the details. For example, she did not know how Wang Zhong killed his way over. From the scene, they guessed that Wang Zhong had contacted many people to kill his way over. After all, Wang Zhong used to be an assassin, so he must have a backup plan. However, they did not know that Wang Zhong had killed his way over alone. Because they did not know, they still had a smattering of knowledge about Wang Zhong's true strength. Wang Zhong did not explain much. Sometimes, it was a good choice to keep a trump card for oneself. Besides these obligations, what other benefits are there for joining you? Wang Zhong asked concisely. The benefits are that we will not pursue the matter of you secretly killing some unstable members of society. Of course, you can choose not to join us. We will not force you to do so. We only need you to help us if we ask for it. Zhao Meng was also worried that Wang Zhong would misunderstand that they were forcing him to join, so she changed her tone. Well, I will think about it. For Wang Zhong, the sudden appearance of the small world of spiritual energy and the Spirit Dream sect did not have a big impact on him. Because he was a transmigrator, he never doubted that there were only these two worlds in this world. There must be other worlds. As for joining the Spirit Dream sect, the situation was still unclear. He did not need any protection from any organization, so naturally, he did not need to join. Well, I hope Mr. Wang can consider it carefully. Of course, if you have any trouble in the future, you can tell me. I am your caretaker. Zhao Meng handed over a business card. Since I have already come to find you, you cannot casually kill people in the future. This was both a reminder and a warning. You did not know before, so we do not blame you. However, if you dare to act recklessly in the future, the organization will not let you go. Wang Zhong did not take this warning to heart. What a joke. In terms of strength, he could get rid of Zhao Meng in a second. Why would he be afraid of the organization behind her? However, the most important thing for him now was to live a good life. He did not want to cause any trouble. In response to Zhao Meng's reminder, he nodded slightly. My enemies have been dealt with. Of course, I know this. It could be seen that Zhao Meng did not know that he had used the assassin website to deal with Yijenda a few days ago. Well, let's chat as friends. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can find me. As your caretaker, I will do my best to help you become a cultivator. It could be seen that this organization was quite good. Wang Zhong had a good impression of it. After adding her as a friend, Zhao Meng's nickname was Spirit Dream Inner Disciple. It seemed that this woman was an inner disciple, and her status was quite high. Well, now let's test your strength. Zhao Meng got up. Let me see your true strength. Chapter 612. Okay. Wang Zhong stretched out his hand, and a faintly discernible spiritual power rose from his hand. As the former lord of the Immortal Mountain, Wang Zhong's use of spiritual power had already reached perfection. Therefore, Zhao Meng did not know that Wang Zhong had only used 0.00001% of his strength in front of her. Huff, huff. Wang Zhong gasped for breath and said, using spiritual power is so tiring. Wang Zhong was becoming more and more naughty, deliberately pretending to be weak. Zhao Meng's eyes flashed with a trace of helplessness. I didn't think that Wang Zhong would be so weak. She did not suspect that Wang Zhong was doing it deliberately. As an inner disciple of Spirit Dream Sect, she had mastered a set of secret techniques called Thousand Chance Eyes. As long as someone used spiritual power in front of her, she would be able to find out the approximate strength of that person's spiritual power. Of course, she also knew that the Thousand Chance Eyes had a flaw. If a person was proficient in using spiritual power, they would be able to hide their strength. However, those who were proficient in using spiritual power only existed in the spirit world. It was impossible to do it in the outside world. Therefore, she did not suspect that Wang Zhong was deliberately hiding his strength. My strength is meager, I'm sorry. Wang Zhong calmly said. But this is normal. You don't belong to any sect, so your strength is naturally inferior to others. But it's okay. I can teach you in the future and let you become stronger. People from sects like her were quite similar to pyramid schemes. They liked to pull people in. Even if Wang Zhong's strength was not strong, she still wanted to pull Wang Zhong into her sect and add to Spirit Dream Sect. Thank you, Miss Zhao Meng. But what are you doing here? I open a restaurant. It's on my business card. Well, I've said what I wanted to say. I will be your caretaker from now on. I hope you won't cause me any trouble. I know. What about my roommate? When will she come over? She is already on her way. Zhao Meng's figure flashed and appeared at the door. Wow, that's amazing. Wang Zhong cooperatively exclaimed. Zhao Meng grinned, as if she was very happy to be able to display this skill in front of Wang Zhong. However, she still said modestly, this is only the most common movement skill. It's a pity that this is my Spirit Dream Sex cultivation technique and will not be casually taught to outsiders. Wang Zhong understood that Zhao Meng had deliberately revealed her hand in order to get him to join the Spirit Dream Sect. Wang Zhong pretended not to know and sent Zhao Meng away. What bad luck. My car was hit outside. 10 minutes later, Shan Shuang went home full of resentment. According to her story, she met a drunkard on the way and her car was scratched. She called the police and took down her statement, which was why she was so late. Drive carefully in the future. I'm going to rest first. After saying that, Wang Zhong returned to his room. A few days passed without a hitch. During these days, Zhao Meng also sent a message to Wang Zhong, hoping that he would participate in the cultivators' banquet. There would be dozens of cultivators participating in the banquet. Considering that he could see how these cultivators were like, he agreed. The location of the banquet was Zhao Meng's restaurant. The location was very remote. According to her, the basement of the restaurant was a place to go to the small world of spirit qi. However, it was not easy to go there. If one was unlucky, they would be torn apart by the power during the transmigration, never to return. The best way was to have someone lead them. After seeing these cultivators, Wang Zhong's face was filled with disappointment. They were too weak. They were all a bunch of weaklings. Even so, this group of weaklings did not forget to brag about how powerful they were. Wang Zhong had no interest in staying. "Mr. Wang Zhong, you're leaving so early?" Seeing that Wang Zhong was leaving, Zhao Meng was very surprised. "Yes, I still have something to do." Wang Zhong gave her face and said, "All right then. I was going to ask you if you want to enter the small world of spirit qi." "You're going to enter the small world of spirit qi?" Wang Zhong stopped in his tracks. Wang Zhong was also very curious about that world. Seeing that Wang Zhong had stopped, Zhao Meng seemed very proud and said confidently, "That's right. If you're interested and get the favor of an elder, you can even enter the sect to cultivate like me. At that time, our lifespan will no longer be 100 years, but 200 years, or even 1,000 years." His words stirred up the emotions of everyone present. Cultivation had always been something that mortals yearned for because it could allow them to obtain power that ordinary people could not possess. It was understandable that these people were so excited. Wang Zhong said calmly, "All right, I'll go and take a look." About a month later. "Get ready." "Got it. I'm leaving." Wang Zhong turned around and left. "This..." Zhao Meng opened her mouth. This was completely different from what she had imagined. Shouldn't ordinary people be extremely excited and grateful when they heard that they could go to the small world of spirit qi? This fellow, on the other hand, was so calm that it was scary. He even left immediately. However, she did not think much of it. She just assumed that Wang Zhong was a loner. The days passed. Wang Zhong's life was very peaceful. He did not disturb the mute girl anymore. He only gave Qin Yang a sum of money occasionally to treat the mute girl's illness. On this night, the interface finally appeared before Wang Zhong again. Ding! Game is loading. Reborn creature. The great fatuous lord, Luo Zhao. Bio. Luo Zhao was born during the end of the Great Yan Dynasty. He was the youngest son of the Great Yan Dynasty's emperor, Luo Wentian. During the end of the Great Yan Dynasty, the imperial court was filled with corruption. The eunuchs abused their power. The civil and military officials formed cliques to pursue personal interests. They took bribes and bent the law. The people had no way to make a living. The outside world was filled with flames of war and disasters. There were rebellions everywhere. The neighboring countries attacked and harassed the people. The people suffered unspeakably. After Luo Zhao ascended the throne, he listened to slanderous words, ignored the court, and was reluctant to leave the harem. He was jokingly called the Great Fatuous Lord by the people. In just a few years after he ascended the throne, the Great Yan Dynasty was on the verge of collapse and was torn apart. In the end, when Luo Zhao was 24 years old, he and the empress were burned alive in the harem. The Great Yan Dynasty was destroyed. Mission objective: I'm the emperor. I don't want to be burned to death. I don't want my concubines to be humiliated. Mission Wang Zhong. Reward: random experience points. After seeing the mission objective, Wang Zhong did not know what to say. They were burned alive by the enemy. This person did not think about the people and did not think about making a name for himself. Instead, he thought about his concubines. It seemed that he was really a fatuous lord. However, what puzzled Wang Zhong was that according to the information, he was only the youngest son of the late emperor, Luo Wentian. How did he become the emperor? Wang Zhong felt that there must be something fishy about this. He did not plan to wait any longer. Wang Zhong directly clicked on the entry button. Due to the special nature of the game, you will directly enter the age of 21. Just like last time, the mission this time did not start when he was in his mother's womb. This was very understandable. If it started from the age of 1, with Wang Zhong's ability, he would not be jokingly called a fatuous lord as soon as he came to power to manage the country. Therefore, the mission started from the age of 21. A white light flashed, and the laughter of a few women came to his ears. "Your Majesty, come and catch me. Your Majesty, I'm here. He he he. Your Majesty, you can't catch me, you can't catch me." What's going on? Wang Zhong was a little confused. In the past, when he entered the game, he could see the situation around him after the white light flashed. But this time, it was still dark in front of him. After thinking about it carefully, he instantly understood that his glasses had been covered. Hearing the giggles of the surrounding girls, Wang Zhong was speechless. No wonder his eyes were covered. It turned out that he was playing a game of catch girls. This fatuous lord was really awesome. Your Majesty, I've been caught by you. You're amazing." At this moment, a delicate figure threw herself into Wang Zhong's arms. Her coquettish voice gave him goosebumps. At the same time, Wang Zhong recalled some of the situations of his original body, Luo Zhao. Currently, he was playing a game of catch chicks with the concubines in the harem. He was the eagle, and the concubines were the chicks. After catching the concubines, it was time to serve them. He really knew how to play. Wang Zhong removed his blindfold. At this moment, he was in the back garden of the harem. There were 7 or 8 beauties in front of him. All of them were wearing gauze dresses and looked exceptionally enchanting. They were looking at Wang Zhong coquettishly as if they could not wait to pounce on him and serve him. Although the great Yan dynasty was facing internal and external troubles, he was still the emperor in name. Naturally, these women were very happy to serve him. In the harem, whoever could obtain the emperor's favor would naturally have a higher status. Phew! After learning this, Wang Zhong smiled at the concubines and said, "I'm suddenly tired. I'll take a rest first." "Safe journey, Your Majesty." The concubines looked at each other. They did not know why Wang Zhong's expression suddenly changed. An old eunuch walked behind Wang Zhong. He asked in a sharp voice, "Your Majesty, do you want the imperial kitchen to prepare some snacks for you so that you can eat and rest early? Take care of your body." "I'm not hungry yet." Wang Zhong glanced at the old eunuch. In his memories, this old eunuch was called He Taigao. He was a martial arts elite. Not only did he protect Wang Zhong, but he also took care of Wang Zhong's daily needs. He Taigao had quite a lot of authority, but in his memories, he was very loyal because he watched Wang Zhong grow up. Great companion. This was the emperor's affectionate way of addressing the eunuchs close to him. "Yes, Your Majesty. When I was playing with them earlier, I suddenly felt uncomfortable." Then I'll summon the imperial physician for Your Majesty." "Great companion, I'm not talking about physical discomfort. I'm talking about mental discomfort. I'm slow-witted. I don't understand what you mean, Your Majesty." He Taigao lowered his head. He looked ashamed. "I've lived in the palace for a long time. I don't know much about the outside world. However, I can feel that the civil and military officials are fooling me. The people don't love me. I'm worried that the great Yan dynasty will be destroyed." "Your Majesty, you can't speak carelessly. The great Yan dynasty will last for thousands of years. You're the emperor." After saying that, He Taigao looked behind him. When he saw that there was no one behind him, he sighed in relief. "Great companion, even you're fooling me. I wouldn't dare." "Then, you should know the situation outside." He Taigao no longer dared to say anything. As the chief eunuch in the palace, he naturally knew that the people outside were poor. However, to him, his mission was to serve the emperor well. If the emperor was happy, he would be happy as well. If the emperor wanted to play, he would think of a way to let him play. After serving the emperor for so long, this was the first time he saw the emperor so worried. For a moment, he was worried as well. "Your Majesty." At this moment, a young eunuch walked in. "Little Wenzi, what's the matter?" Today, new clothes were sent to Imperial Concubine Li. When Imperial Concubine Li saw the new clothes, she became unhappy and tore them all up. She even said, what else did she say? Wang Zhong frowned. In his impression, Imperial Concubine Li was one of his most favored concubines. She was quite pretty. Her only flaw was that she was too arrogant. In the past, she relied on Luo Zhao's favor to pester endlessly. She wanted to eat ice cubes in summer and panda meat in winter. Most importantly, the incapable ruler in the past had agreed to everything. In order to gain Imperial Concubine Li's favor, Luo Zhao even had the Imperial Guards fight in the plaza. It was all for the sake of making Imperial Concubine Li smile. Thinking of this, Wang Zhong smiled coldly. In the past, Luo Zhao liked you, so he naturally spoiled you. Now, however, he won't let you off so easily. "We ask you, what else did she say?" Wang Zhong asked. "Little Wenzi, why haven't you spoken yet?" The young eunuch named Little Wenzi quickly said, "Imperial Concubine Li said that the clothes were too ugly. If new clothes were not sent over in 3 days, she would die in front of your Majesty." "Ha ha ha." Wang Zhong simply laughed. The common people outside the imperial court were suffering, but his woman was still fussing over a few pieces of clothing. This was really outrageous. "Since Imperial Concubine Li wants to die, we will fulfill her wish," Wang Zhong said without any trace of politeness. Chapter 613. Wang Zhong had thought that if he wanted to deal with the court, he would have to start with the harem. If the harem was not in chaos, he could deal with the civil and military officials one step at a time. He did not know where to start. He did not expect Consort Li to walk right into his trap. Upon hearing Wang Zhong's words, he, Taigao and Little Wenzi were shocked. Let Consort Li die? It should be known that Consort Li was one of the emperor's most favored concubines. In the past, the emperor did not even dare to speak loudly to Consort Li. Now, he wanted her to die. "Your Majesty, please calm down." He, Taigao, hastily fell to his knees. Ordering Consort Li to die was no small matter. "What? Do you think I'm spouting nonsense? This old servant dares not." "Then lead the way. I'd like to see who dares to throw a tantrum in the harem." As the saying went, a great man must be ruthless. If he wanted the harem to be peaceful, he had to make an example out of her. At that time, he would see if the concubines dared to act recklessly. Moreover, Wang Zhong had decided that the harem's food and clothing were too extravagant. Currently, the great Yan dynasty was plagued by internal and external troubles. He was already 21 years old. There were only 3 years left before he would be burned to death at the age of 24. During these 3 years, he would need to build an army and forge weapons. He would need a lot of money and people to work for him. There was no need to spend so much on the harem. In the future, he would promote frugality. Those who disobeyed him would be killed. In the future, he would no longer be an incapable ruler. He would be a tyrant. This old servant obeys. He, Taigao, rose to his feet. He did not dare to look at Wang Zhong. This was because he noticed that the emperor's temperament had changed drastically. He no longer looked as indifferent as before. He could not help but recall what Wang Zhong had said to him earlier. The great Yan dynasty was about to be destroyed. At this moment, he realized that the emperor was not speaking out of emotion. He truly wanted to make a change. The emperor has been enlightened. He, Taigao, was delighted. All these years, he had seen how the civil and military officials played for power. Alas, Luo Zhao was greedy for pleasure and did not care about the court. He only knew how to play with his concubines in the harem. The great Yan dynasty was in a foul atmosphere. He, Taigao, was worried that a rebellion. Now that the emperor had been enlightened, perhaps he could change. Li Palace. This was the residence of Imperial Concubine Li of the Inner Palace. Although the Li Palace was not the most luxurious residence in the inner palace, it could still be considered the largest residence. This was something that Luo Zhao had bestowed upon imperial concubine Li a few years ago out of doting on her. It was just a pity that not only did imperial concubine Li not show any gratitude, but her demands became even greater. Upon thinking of how arrogant imperial concubine Li had been in the past, Wang Zhong felt even more disdain for her. At this time, imperial concubine Li was still throwing a tantrum in Li Palace. "Useless servant, you can't even make a few pieces of clothing. What's the point of having me wear them out to lose face?" The 5 palace maids knelt on the ground, trembling. They knew imperial concubine Li's temper. Relying on the fact that she had received the emperor's favor, her temper was frightening. Offending her would be terrible. At this time, the maidservant outside ran in to report, "Nyong Nyong, His Majesty is here." "Okay, got it." Imperial concubine Li slightly nodded to express that she understood, as a look of satisfaction flashed through her eyes. Sure enough, the emperor had heard her throw a tantrum and come over. Later, she must tell the emperor to punish those tailors for their crimes. "His Majesty has arrived." Following the eunuch's announcement, imperial concubine Li led her own maidservant out to receive him. She had a total of 7 or 8 maidservants. Originally, she did not have the right to have so many, but Emperor Luo Zhao had doted on her in the past, thus half of the palace maids were given to take care of her. This concubine respectfully welcomes His Majesty. Even if imperial concubine Li's temper was very bad because of his doting, she still had a pitiful appearance in front of the emperor. It was just that the more she acted like this, the more Wang Zhong loathed her. Especially when he saw the new clothes that had been cut up in the corner, Wang Zhong could not help but feel a wave of anger. It was clear that these clothes were not cheap. Not to mention the color, just the gold embroidery was enough to prove that these clothes were not something that a normal family could afford. Imperial concubine Li, however, had cut up such expensive clothes. Wang Zhong did not have imperial concubine Li get up. Instead, he quietly looked at imperial concubine Li. It was no wonder that imperial concubine Li was able to make the original owner, Luo Zhao, fall head over heels for her. She was indeed quite beautiful, especially that pair of things. It was just that Wang Zhong had seen many beautiful women. No matter how beautiful imperial concubine Li was, in Wang Zhong's eyes, she was just so. At the same time, imperial concubine Li raised her head to look at Wang Zhong, as tears fell from her eyes. Don't look at how she was crying right now. In truth, she was very pleased with herself because every time she cried in the past, the dog emperor would grant her every request. It was just a pity that not only did the emperor not quickly help her up, he did not even allow her to get up. He just left her kneeling there. Imperial concubine Li, we heard that you wanted to hang yourself because your clothes were not pretty. Is that true? Wang Zhong flicked his robe and sat to the side to ask. Your Majesty, it's not that this concubine is messing around. It's just that the servants did not do a good job. I clearly did not ask for this sort of design, yet they made it so ugly. They clearly did it on purpose. Would your Majesty please investigate? There's no need to investigate. Didn't you want to hang yourself? We will fulfill your wish. How could Wang Zhong have the time to investigate something for the sake of a piece of clothing? This imperial concubine Li was threatening him with death. Since that was the case, he would just let her die. It would be perfect for the other beauties in the imperial harem to see that if they messed around in the future, they would end up like imperial concubine Li. What? Imperial concubine Li was stunned, as she looked at Wang Zhong in disbelief. She felt that this was a very unfamiliar situation. It had to be known that the emperor had always treated her very well. Not to mention that she was the most favored person, but the degree of favor that she received was definitely in the top 3 of the imperial harem. What exactly was going on today for the emperor to actually agree to let her die? Even a fool could see that she had said that she wanted to hang herself out of anger. Someone come. This old servant is present. He Taigao stepped forward. Imperial concubine Li is wholeheartedly seeking death. We cannot bear to see her suffer while she is alive, thus we will grant her death. Immediately prepare the white silk for imperial concubine Li to hang herself. As you command. He Taigao knew that the emperor was determined to execute imperial concubine Li this time. There was no emotion in his heart, as he shouted to the 2 eunuchs at the entrance, "Go get the white silk." The 2 eunuchs ran out. At this time, imperial concubine Li managed to react and quickly kowtowed, "Your Majesty, this concubine knows her wrongs. This concubine still does not want to die." "It's too late." Wang Zhong's tone was cold as he spoke. For a while, imperial concubine Li felt as though she had fallen into an ice cellar. It was only at this time that she noticed that the emperor in front of her had suddenly become very unfamiliar. It was as though he was a stranger. "Your Majesty, please spare this concubine. Please spare this concubine. This concubine was just throwing a tantrum. This crime does not warrant death." If this was during peacetime, Wang Zhong would at most give imperial concubine Li a small punishment for doing this to let her know what was good for her. But now, in order to quickly ensure that the imperial harem would not affect his future plans, he had to use a thunderous method. This imperial concubine Li could be considered to have run into a gun. Very quickly, the 2 eunuchs brought the white silk. Seeing the white silk, imperial concubine Li's body went limp in fear, as she collapsed to the ground and begged, "Your Majesty, spare me. Your Majesty, spare me. This concubine know her wrongs. Imperial concubine Li, will you do it yourself, or should I take action?" He Taigao coldly stood in front of imperial concubine Li and spoke. Imperial concubine Li's body trembled. "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Your Majesty." Not a single palace maid in the surroundings dared to move, fearing that the emperor would also execute them in a fit of anger. "Head companion, we do not wish to continue listening to her speak," Wang Zhong said. He Taigao did not dare neglect and said to imperial concubine Li, "Imperial concubine Li, I'm sorry." He Taigao was also an expert, and he grabbed imperial concubine Li's shoulder. At the same time, the 2 eunuchs to the side hung the white silk from the ceiling. After tying a knot, they tied it around imperial concubine Li's neck. "You fatuous ruler, you will die a horrible death, a horrible death." At this moment, imperial concubine Li's hair was disheveled. She knew that she was definitely going to die, thus she simply began to curse. "How dare you!" He Taigao coldly snorted, then grabbed the other end of the white silk and suddenly pulled, causing imperial concubine Li to be hung up. Her entire body flopped around in the air a few times before her body gradually straightened up. Her eyes were wide open, and she could not be any more dead. "Head companion, put all of the treasures in imperial concubine Li's palace into the national treasury." "As you command," He Taigao said. Bury imperial concubine Li. Just say that she sought death. Also, bring us a list of the treasures in the palace's national treasury. I want to see if there are any treasures missing." "As you command." He Taigao raised an eyebrow. Sure enough, it was as he had guessed. Who knew what had happened to the emperor, but he had truly begun to take care of the country's affairs. But the first thing he took care of was the imperial harem. Right now, it was the national treasury. Wang Zhong's first game was to play the role of head eunuch, so he knew very well that the waters in the palace were very deep. Don't look at how some low-ranking officials did not have much power. There were many cases of corruption. For example, the national treasury was a disaster area for corruption. The department in charge of the national treasury was called the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Based on Wang Zhong's memories, the fatuous ruler of the original body only knew how to eat, drink, and play. He did not even know how much money there was in the national treasury. At this time, He Taigao still had not arrived. After taking care of the matters at hand, Wang Zhong began to analyze the situation. According to his memories, the reason why the original body, Luo Zhao, was able to become emperor was very strange. When the previous emperor passed away, Luo Zhao was only 9 years old. He had 3 older brothers above him. In terms of position, it was impossible for him to become emperor. The first emperor to succeed him was the crown prince, Luo Ming. This person was very ambitious and focused on taking care of the country's affairs. However, Luo Ming's health was very poor. In just half a year, his body collapsed and he died very early. After he died, his younger brother succeeded him. This one was clearly not as good as Luo Ming. He only knew how to eat, drink, and play. One day, an honest official suddenly reported that someone was taking bribes. This emperor was prompted by a sudden impulse, so he ordered a strict investigation. Who would have thought that just as this order was issued, he would be found dead in the imperial study the next day? In the end, it was found that a palace maid had poisoned him, but after the investigation, the palace maid had already taken the poison and committed suicide. The matter was left unsettled. The third emperor was considered smart and secretly began to investigate. Unfortunately, after several years, after arresting 2 officials, he encountered an assassin and was stabbed to death. With these 3 emperors dead, the ministers discussed and decided that according to the order, Luo Zhao should become emperor. In this way, at the age of 19, Luo Zhao muddle-headedly took the throne. Because he only knew how to eat, drink, and play, he lived a very peaceful life. In any case, to the ministers, you play you, and we take our profits. As long as you don't investigate us, we will let you continue to be emperor. It seems that I am a mere figurehead. Chapter 6:14. It seems that I've become a mere figurehead. Wang Zhong felt a headache coming on as he sat on the throne. The beginning of the game was already so difficult. Even a fool could tell that the previous emperors had lived long lives by eating, drinking, and having fun. If anyone was smart enough to investigate something, they would have to deal with them. Currently, only the eunuchs in the palace and the harem were somewhat obedient. The officials outside were all outwardly complying but inwardly opposing. Aside from the current dangerous situation, Wang Zhong also understood that this world was similar to a martial arts world. There was no spiritual energy here, but everyone practiced internal energy. For example, the eunuch He Taigao was a martial arts expert with powerful internal energy. Your Majesty, this old servant has brought the treasury ledger. He Taigao shouted at the door. Come in. As you wish. He Taigao bowed as he entered. A thick ledger was placed neatly on Wang Zhong's desk. Let me ask you, when you went to get the ledger, did the people from the Imperial Household Department make things difficult for you? Based on the situation in the palace, Wang Zhong did not believe that the Imperial Household Department was free of corruption. So, when He Taigao suddenly went to get the ledger, the Imperial Household Department would not cooperate. Your Majesty, when this old servant went to the Imperial Household Department, no one made things difficult for me. Oh. This puzzled Wang Zhong. He opened the ledger. Although the original Luo Zhao was a fatuous ruler, he could still read. 350,000 taels of silver, gold, silver, silk, grain. Many things were clearly recorded in the ledger, but what made Wang Zhong frown was that the treasury was so empty. The entire national treasury was only left with 300,000 taels of silver. One had to know that when he was a eunuch in the Great Dragon Dynasty, he remembered that the national treasury needed at least 10 million taels of silver to keep the country running. That was because the country spent too much money. The military was a large part of it, and then there was the disaster relief and the salaries of the officials. Wang Zhong really did not understand how 300,000 taels of silver could keep the country running. No wonder they were burned to death 3 years later. It's no wonder that there's so little money. Sir, Wang Zhong called out. This old servant is here. Can I trust you? He Taigao hurriedly knelt down in a panic. This old servant is terrified. Get up and talk. As you command. You've been by my side for quite some time, right? You can be considered the person I trust the most. Hearing this, He Taigao was excited and quickly expressed his position. This old servant is the emperor's dog servant. A dog servant not only has to know how to do things, but also has to be loyal. These were He Taigao's heartfelt words. As a eunuch, no matter how great his power was, if there was no emperor, no one would look up to a eunuch. Of course, Wang Zhong was different at that time. At that time, he used some means to control the emperor. Wang Zhong smiled. He was very satisfied with He Taigao's attitude, but he still had to remind him. He said, "I suddenly had a feeling today. I feel that if I continue to play around, the country will change owners sooner or later. When that time comes, I will definitely not be able to live. As the person I trust the most, I'm afraid that you won't be able to escape responsibility. Therefore, I have decided to stop playing around like this. This old servant will go through water and tread on fire." Very good. You should understand that if I lose power, you won't have a good time. If I regain power, I will not let you down. Thank you for your kindness, Emperor. With that, He Taigao was about to kneel again. No need to kneel. I will exempt you from kneeling. Being exempt from kneeling was a great honor. It meant that in the future, when he saw the emperor, he only needed to bow his head. Wang Zhong couldn't give him a lot of benefits now, so he could only win people's hearts like this. Of course, from the memory of the past, there was no problem with He Taigao's loyalty. Wang Zhong also hoped that he would work harder and be more loyal. In the future, you can't tell a third person what you and I said. Do you understand? This old servant knows the pros and cons. Even if this old servant is put into a pot of oil, this old servant will keep his mouth shut. Very good. Wang Zhong was satisfied and threw the account book back. Return the account book. Just say that you misheard our decree. We want the erotic images, not the account book. He Taigao didn't understand why Wang Zhong was doing this. Wang Zhong explained, the contents of the account book are definitely real, but the money spent has definitely been faked. It's useless even if we have it. Wang Zhong was deliberately not mentioning this matter because he didn't want anyone to know that he was investigating. After all, there weren't many people in the palace that he could trust. He didn't want to be killed for no reason. These evil people dare to deceive the emperor. Emperor, this old servant will immediately call the people from the Imperial Household Department over. There's no need. We can't act rashly on this matter. Do as we say for now. Go. As you command. He Taigao obediently left. News of Wang Zhong ordering Imperial concubine Li's death spread like wildfire, and the entire Imperial harem knew about it. Wang Zhong was very bad. He did not immediately have someone collect Imperial concubine Li's body. He just left her hanging and waited for the next day to collect and bury her. For a while, all of the concubines felt insecure. They didn't know what had happened to the emperor to actually order the death of his most beloved imperial concubine Li. In the imperial harem, aside from the emperor, the Empress Dowager had the most power, followed by the Empress. However, according to Wang Zhong's memories, although the Empress Dowager was his mother, she was not a good person. She had asked the original owner, Luo Zhao, to collect taxes to build her Phoenix Palace. When news of imperial concubine Li's death reached the Empress Dowager's ears, Lu Huan frowned and indifferently said, "Disgraceful. Even if imperial concubine Li was in the wrong, how could she be casually hanged and her body left hanging in the room? If this were to spread, what face would my imperial family have left?" Although imperial concubine Li usually had a bad temper, she was very good at flattering Lu Huan. Because of this, Lu Huan quite liked her. Now that imperial concubine Li had been ordered to die for no reason, Lu Huan was naturally furious. "Empress Dowager, please calm your anger." The palace maid reporting the news kneeled and said, "Go and call the emperor over." "Yes." The palace maid left. "What I need to do now is to rectify the imperial harem. Secondly, I need to earn money. With money, I can establish my own power." Wang Zhong sat on the dragon throne and thought. The skill of an emperor was in money and power. With these two things, whoever disobeyed would be destroyed. "Someone scolded you? No problem, I am a tyrant." Wang Zhong had never cared about reputation. The so-called reputation was nothing more than something written by scholars. History was written by the victors. According to Wang Zhong's understanding, the imperial harem was controlled by the Empress Dowager and the Empress. The Empress Dowager was his mother. Her name was Lu Huan. Although she was old, she was arrogant and overbearing. In the past, if the emperor did not listen to her, he would definitely be taught a lesson by her. In addition to her high position and power, the reason why Lu Huan had so much power was because she controlled the most important eunuch department in the imperial harem, the 12 imperial eunuchs. This department was the yamen that managed the eunuchs in the imperial harem. It had real power. Whoever disobeyed, the 12 imperial eunuchs had the power to arrest. The person in charge of the 12 imperial eunuchs was called Ndeli. He had followed the Empress Dowager since he was young and listened to everything Lu Huan said. The other person in charge of the imperial harem was the Empress. The Empress's name was Zhao Wan. She was the daughter of a great general. Because her family had military power, Zhao Wan's position in the imperial harem was not ordinary. Unfortunately, the original Luo Zhao did not like Zhao Wan. It was because Zhao Wan was too tall. Luo Zhao thought that as a woman, how could Zhao Wan be taller than her husband? Wasn't this embarrassing for him? Therefore, after Zhao Wan became the empress, Luo Zhao did not even touch her. The reason why Zhao Wan could become the empress was because of Zhao Wan's father. A year ago, there was a rebellion at the border and 2 cities were lost. Luo Zhao was so scared that he did not know what to do. As a loyal subject, Zhao Wan's father, Zhao O, requested to go to war. In order to show his support, Luo Zhao married Zhao Wan under the suggestion of the Empress Dowager. He also made Zhao Wan the empress. In the end, Zhao O led the Zhao family army to turn the tide and killed all the rebels. Unfortunately, Zhao O was old. After the war ended, Zhao O fell seriously ill. A group of civil servants stood up and tried to take credit. The muddle-headed emperor, Luo Zhao, gave the credit for solving the rebellion to those civil servants. The Zhao family army did not gain anything. In a fit of anger, Zhao O vomited blood and died. With Zhao O's death, the Zhao family army was divided. Coupled with the suppression of the civil servants, the Zhao family army was reduced to less than 10%. After that, Zhao Wan, who was not liked by Luo Zhao, was not valued even more after her father's death. Especially after Zhao Wan saw how extravagant and wasteful the Empress Dowager was, Empress Dowager Lu Huan felt that Zhao Wan was not presentable. She announced that Zhao Wan's monthly expenses would be halved and she would only have 1 palace maid to serve her. This was the same as not putting Zhao Wan in her eyes. Wang Zhong felt that if Lu Huan did not feel that the matter of abolishing the empress was too big, she would have done so. This mother is really troublesome. Maybe Lu Huan's actions were just for her own enjoyment and face, but she stopped him from reforming the harem. Zhao Wan is not bad. As the daughter of a general, she knows how to empathize with the people and share my worries. After Wang Zhong became the emperor, he quickly got into his role. When he spoke, it was either me or me. Just as he was thinking, a eunuch shouted from the door, "Your Majesty, the Empress Dowager has a decree for you to go see her in the Phoenix Palace." He was just thinking about how to deal with the Empress Dowager, but he never thought that she would come looking for him. Thinking about it, Wang Zhong guessed that it was because of the matter with Imperial Concubine Li. Imperial Concubine Li was a crafty person and knew that the Empress Dowager was the head of the harem. Now that he had ordered Imperial Concubine Li's death, the Empress Dowager had come looking for trouble. "Mother Empress, oh Mother Empress, do you know that the world will soon no longer belong to our Luo family, yet you're still making things difficult for me over such trivial matters? Since that's the case, don't blame me." A cold look flashed through Wang Zhong's eyes as he said to the palace maid, "We will go immediately. Have Mother Empress wait for a moment." "As you wish." The palace maid left. Wang Zhong waited for a while before Taigao returned. "Your Majesty, the accounts of the National Treasury have been returned to the Ministry of Internal Affairs." They didn't become suspicious, right? They shouldn't have. In order to prevent them from becoming suspicious, this old servant boldly took a few erotic books from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The Ministry of Internal Affairs managed the National Treasury. Aside from storing money, there were also clothes, equipment, and other items. Having erotic books was naturally normal. After all, when the emperor was 12 or 13 years old, the palace maids would teach him erotic books. This was the purpose of the erotic books. Very good. We still have something to ask you. Tell me, if Mother Empress were to die, what would happen? Chapter 6:15. What will happen if Mother dies? When Wang Zhong said this, He Taigao was shocked. He quickly knelt down and shouted, "Emperor, this old servant is terrified." Although the emperor was the most powerful person in the world, the emperor's life was miserable. Because Wang Zhong's current situation was like a mere figurehead. Not only was there no one in the imperial court supporting him, even if there were loyal officials, they would be suppressed by a group of corrupt officials. Needless to say, the power in the imperial harem was basically in the hands of the Empress Dowager. If the emperor was obedient, the Empress Dowager would not do anything. But if he was not obedient, Wang Zhong might die like the previous emperors. Great companion, Zhan is just worried about Mother's health. Zhan is just casually chatting with you. Wang Zhong said, "Stand up and talk." "As you wish." He Taigao wiped the sweat on his forehead. He felt that the emperor's words were too bold, giving him a lot of pressure. "Tell me, what will happen if the Empress Dowager dies?" "Don't worry, only you and I know about this. Zhan now treats you as a trusted aide." The Empress Dowager is in charge of the 12 imperial eunuchs. She is in charge of everything in the imperial harem. If something happens to the Empress Dowager, the 12 imperial eunuchs will not be so obedient. Especially the 12 imperial eunuch and Delhi. This old servant does not get along with this person. He Taigao said very clearly. With the Empress Dowager, Delhi was still obedient. But if the Empress Dowager died, Delhi would not be so obedient. He might even help those treacherous officials to monitor him. Of course, Delhi was a eunuch after all. It was easy for him to deal with him. But the problem was that he would alert the enemy and attract suspicion. In addition, Delhi was also a martial arts expert. If he counterattacked before he died, he would be in danger. But after listening to He Taigao's words, Wang Zhong felt that if the Empress Dowager died, the only variable would be Delhi. This was acceptable. Prepare the carriage. Zhan wants to go to the Phoenix Palace. The Phoenix Palace was the residence of the Empress Dowager Lu Huan. It was also the most luxurious place in the imperial harem. Not only was it the largest, but the decorations were also extremely gorgeous. There were more than 50 eunuchs and palace maids in the Phoenix Palace. In Wang Zhong's impression, only the Empress Dowager could truly make the harem more peaceful. In the Phoenix Palace, Lu Huan was blowing hot tea. A group of palace maids and eunuchs stood on both sides. Although LV Huan didn't need so many people, she liked this feeling. In her eyes, she was the Empress Dowager, the emperor's mother. She also knew that the great Yan dynasty was in a precarious situation, and the country was on the verge of collapse. However, so what? They were the imperial family. If the commoners of the lower class were to cause trouble, the great Yan dynasty's army would be able to suppress them. Whoever disobeyed would be killed. In short, as the Empress Dowager, she could not live poorly. His Majesty has arrived. The eunuch at the door shouted in a drake-like voice. Son greets Imperial Mother. Wang Zhong walked in and bowed. His Majesty is becoming more and more capable, actually ordering Imperial Concubine Li's death. Did you know that Imperial Concubine Li was a concubine that this one had personally selected for you? She was also the one that you liked the most. If you order her death, what face does this one have? What face does the Imperial family have? How will outsiders judge your Majesty? As soon as Wang Zhong walked over, Lu Huan began to question him. In the imperial family, the so-called mother-son relationship was a joke. Sometimes, for the sake of power, there were countless cases of father and son, mother and son, and brothers killing each other. Wang Zhong had stayed in the palace before, so he naturally understood this. Wang Zhong's expression did not change. He ordered the palace maids and eunuchs on both sides. "You may leave. I have something to discuss with the Empress Dowager." "There's no need to leave. These people are my trusted aides. I trust them. If there's anything, just say it, Your Majesty." This was not giving Wang Zhong any face. Wang Zhong's expression was cold. It was impossible for him to make a move now. If he killed Lu Huan in front of so many people, the ministers would scold him to death. Who would be willing to work for him in the future? When the time came, he would probably die without knowing why. As a result, Wang Zhong could only say, "Imperial concubine Li wholeheartedly wanted to die. We saw that she was eager to die, so we granted her death." What a joke. This is just Imperial concubine Li throwing a tantrum. Your Majesty should be magnanimous. How could you lower yourself to a woman's level? We understand. Is there anything else, Imperial Mother? We still have matters to take care of. Your Majesty, you may go. I don't want this kind of thing to happen again. Wang Zhong gave a simple sound of acknowledgement before turning to leave. Right now, Wang Zhong's killing intent was even stronger, but he could not kill someone all at once. The ancient era was a society that placed great importance on filial piety. Filial piety was the foundation of many dynasties. Even capital crimes could be lightly forgiven. But if you were unfilial, even if you were meritorious, you would be beheaded. During the reign of Emperor Wan of Han, there was a country's prince who reported his father's rebellion. He was meritorious, but because he violated filial piety, he was executed in the end. Your Majesty, it's already late. Where should we go for dinner today? He Taigao sighed inwardly. Seeing Wang Zhong suffer at the hands of the Empress Dowager, he naturally did not feel good. But as a servant, he could not share the Emperor's worries. He could only hope that Wang Zhong could go to the concubines to be comforted. As he spoke, He Taigao took out a string of tokens. There were a total of 8 tokens. Originally, there were 9 tokens, but Imperial concubine Li had been sentenced to death. Naturally, there were only 8 tokens left. Your Majesty, let's flip the tokens. Wang Zhong smacked his lips. Although the imperial court was troubled by both internal and external problems, being the emperor was quite enjoyable. After seeing Empress Zhao Wan's token, Wang Zhong said, "Let's go to the Empress Place." "As you command. This old servant will have someone inform the Empress." In regards to Wang Zhong's decision, He Taigao was very happy. It was very simple. The Empress was the most frugal person in the imperial harem. Everyone knew this. At the same time, she sympathized with the servants. Because of this, the Empress Zhao Wan was deeply liked by the servants. In He Taigao's eyes, the Empress was the only one who could mother the country. Unfortunately, the Emperor used to think that Zhao Wan was too tall and did not like Zhao Wan. Marrying Zhao Wan was purely to obtain the support of the Zhao family army. Now that the Emperor was beginning to visit the Empress, He Taigao felt that the Emperor had truly changed. There's no need to inform them. We will go there directly. Wang Zhong did not like unnecessary formalities. After saying this, he walked out. Set out for Luanhou Palace. The grand procession set out. Because Wang Zhong did not hide it, the entire imperial harem quickly found out that Wang Zhong was heading to Luanhou Palace. Many people who knew the original Luo Zhao's personality felt that it was inconceivable. During the day, he sentenced imperial concubine Li to death and visited Empress Zhao Wan at night. It had to be known that ever since he married Zhao Wan, the emperor had never touched her. Zhao Wan was the empress in name, but in reality, it was no different from being banished to the cold palace. Luanhou Palace. Your Highness, the food has been prepared. A small palace maid came in with a dish and soup. Because Zhao Wan was not in power, the imperial household department gave Luanhou Palace very little food and clothing. It could be said that it was only enough to satisfy their daily needs. Because of this, Zhao Wan and the palace maids could only eat simple food. Fortunately, Zhao Wan had been taught well when she was young and did not live a luxurious life. Your Highness, I'll get some rice for you. The palace maid said very sensibly. After getting the rice, Ninger sighed and said, "Your Highness, when I went to get the rice, I heard a very big piece of news." "What news? Why are you so surprised?" Because there were not many people here, Zhao Wan did not know that Imperial concubine Li had been sentenced to death by Wang Zhong. Imperial concubine Li was sentenced to death by the emperor. She was hanged in her room and her corpse is still hanging from the beam. What? Zhao Wan's expression greatly changed. She knew that Imperial concubine Li was greatly favored by the emperor, but she never thought that the emperor would order her to death. This was simply unbelievable. "Your Highness, I was also very shocked when I heard this news, but the news is absolutely true. Imperial concubine Li's palace maids and eunuchs have all been sent away." Is that so?" Zhao Wan sighed slightly. Sure enough, accompanying the emperor was like accompanying a tiger. The emperor's personality was hard to grasp. Thinking of this, she felt even more sorrowful for her days. She did not understand why the emperor did not like her. Her father had clearly sacrificed his life for the country and she had clearly wholeheartedly served the country, but the emperor did not even look at her. It was to the point that the emperor did not even touch her on the night of their wedding. "The emperor has arrived." Just as Zhao Wan and Ninger were preparing to eat, the voice outside gave Zhao Wan a fright. She thought that she had misheard. The emperor had come? "Your Highness, the emperor has come, the emperor has come," Ninger quickly reminded her. At this moment, she was even more anxious than Zhao Wan. On one hand, she was happy for Zhao Wan. The emperor had finally thought of her master. On the other hand, if Zhao Wan could gain favor, as the empress' personal palace maid, her status would also rise. She would no longer need to accompany her master to eat these simple meals. Zhao Wan also quickly got up, but she was not very happy. Instead, she was very worried. Imperial concubine Li had been sentenced to death despite being so favored by the emperor. For the emperor to come today, it shouldn't be to sentence her to death, right? This concubine respectfully welcomes the emperor. This servant respectfully welcomes the emperor. Zhao Wan and Ninger bowed respectively. "Empress, there's no need to be so courteous." Wang Zhong gently helped Zhao Wan up. Although he remembered Zhao Wan's appearance, Wang Zhong was still stunned when he saw her now. In terms of appearance, Zhao Wan and Imperial concubine Li were both great beauties, but Zhao Wan was taller. This world's aesthetic standards were similar to Japan's. The Japanese liked cute and short women, while Zhao Wan had long legs. Being so tall, she was naturally not liked. However, Wang Zhong's aesthetic standards were normal. He sighed in his heart. The original Luo Zhao was really a waste of natural resources. He actually did not touch such a beautiful girl. "Thy wife I dote on," Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. Zhao Wan's face was filled with disbelief when Wang Zhong gently helped her up. The emperor used to not even look at her, but now he was so gentle. Especially when Wang Zhong held her arm, her face immediately turned red. How could she not see that Wang Zhong looked at her as if he wanted to eat her up? Combined with the fact that he came at this time, wouldn't he have to pamper her tonight? For a moment, Zhao Wan's heart tightened and she became nervous. Empress, why are you eating so poorly?" At this time, Wang Zhong noticed that there was only one dish and one soup on the table. There was no meat at all. Chapter 616. Zhao Wan was the empress. Even if she wasn't valued by the emperor, she shouldn't be eating so poorly. The palace maids and eunuchs were probably eating better than her. Hence, Wang Zhong was very surprised. "Your Majesty, I don't have a big appetite. This is enough." Zhao Wan was flattered. "Nonsense. You're the empress. How can you eat such unnutritious food? What if your body gets sick?" Zhao Wan didn't know what nutrition was, but when she heard that the emperor was speaking up for her, she became even more excited. "Great companion. I'm here." What's wrong with the imperial kitchen? Why don't they give the Empress good food? Your Majesty, please forgive me. I don't know anything about the imperial harem, He Taigao said fearfully. Your Majesty, this has nothing to do with eunuch He. There's no need to vent your anger on her. Wang Zhong nodded. He understood that it was probably because of the original owner. Forget it. Tell the imperial kitchen to prepare a few more dishes. I want to drink with the Empress. He Taigao was truly happy for Zhao Wan. He quickly bowed and said, I'll do it right away. After He Taigao left, Zhao Wan's eyes turned red. Tears were about to fall. Why did the Empress suddenly cry? Did I do something wrong? Please tell me, Your Majesty. Wang Zhong held Zhao Wan's delicate hand and said. Zhao Wan shook her head and said with her head lowered, I'm not angry. It's just that Your Majesty is suddenly so concerned about me. I'm happy and touched. Wang Zhong nodded. It was time for him to whisper to Zhao Wan. Hence, he said to Ning, you can leave first. Ning, quickly left. Wang Zhong then said, Empress, I was ignorant in the past and neglected you. I won't do it again. Your Majesty. When Zhao Wan heard Wang Zhong's words, her original resentment instantly disappeared. Wang Zhong took the opportunity to pull her into his embrace and said, Tonight, drink a few cups with me. Then, I'll talk to you about some important matters. Zhao Wan's oval face slightly lifted. She asked in surprise, Your Majesty, what important matters do you want to talk about? State matters. Your Majesty, according to the laws of the Great Yen Dynasty, the members of the imperial harem are not allowed to interfere in politics. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Keep it a secret. Only the two of us will know. Seeing Wang Zhong's serious expression, Zhao Wan knew that Wang Zhong was telling the truth. Soon, the dishes were served and 2 pots of wine were brought in. The purity of the wine here was not high. After the meal was prepared, Zhao Wan sensibly poured some wine for Wang Zhong. This is the first time Your Majesty is drinking with this concubine. This concubine is really happy. I will come often in the future. Wang Zhong smiled, looked around and said, It's just that the place where the Empress lives is too simple and crude. I promise you that when I'm done with the matters at hand, I'll let you move to a bigger house. This concubine is already very happy to be able to serve Your Majesty. This concubine doesn't dare to have too much hope. Wang Zhong nodded in satisfaction. Zhao Wan was not putting on an act. In his memory, Zhao Wan was a very simple woman. Not only did she ask her subordinates to live frugally, but she also lived frugally. Unfortunately, the members of the imperial family were used to living a good life. They did not know the hardships of the commoners outside. There were very few women as outstanding as Zhao Wan. It was very late at night. Although Wang Zhong could hold his liquor, he was slightly drunk at this moment. Zhao Wan was even more so. Her face was completely red. Empress, it's getting late. Let's rest. Zhao Wan, naturally, knew what Wang Zhong meant by rest. For a moment, she felt a little shy. Then, the two of them entered the inner room. Zhao Wan's room was as simple as the outside. There was no other furniture apart from a large bed. However, the room was very clean. There was some calligraphy and paintings hanging on the wall. It was obvious that Zhao Wan liked these calligraphy and paintings. Wang Zhong hugged Zhao Wan and hugged her. Zhao Wan felt very fulfilled that night. On the second day, Wang Zhong slept all the way until noon before waking up. As an emperor, he had to go to court at 5 or 6 in the morning. Therefore, although the emperor was very powerful, his work was very tiring. Unless he was a fatuous emperor, he did not care about anything else. Wang Zhong was a fatuous emperor. Naturally, he would not go to court. Moreover, it would be useless even if he went. Right now, none of the officials cared about him. Even if he went to court, they would flatter him, saying things like the world was peaceful and the commoners were happy. Empress, you're awake. Wang Zhong caressed her smooth skin and asked, "Your Majesty, I'm guilty." Zhao Luan blamed herself. "Nonsense, how are you guilty? I asked you to stay here and not go to court." Wang Zhong smiled. "So that's what you're talking about. It's not your fault. I purposely didn't go. After all, I wouldn't be able to chat with those officials." "What do you mean, Your Majesty?" After that, Wang Zhong began to talk about some matters in the imperial court. From Wang Zhong's words, Zhao Luan knew that Wang Zhong was no longer a fatuous emperor. He wanted to govern the court. "That's why I came here last night. I know that only you can help me." Zhao Luan was very smart. Although she had lived in the palace for a long time, she had heard about the outside world. In the past, she was not favored and could not tell Luo Zhao her thoughts. But now, she felt that the time was right. "Your Majesty, I will do my best to help you conquer the world. Yes, I checked the national treasury yesterday. The national treasury only has 300,000 taels of silver left. The national treasury is so tight, but Imperial Mother is still so extravagant. I've decided to start with Imperial Mother and reform the Imperial Harem." Ah! Zhao Luan was very shocked by Wang Zhong's plan. "Leave this to me. When the time comes, I will let you take control of the Imperial Harem. I hope you won't disappoint me. I will do my best." Zhao Luan did not care about her naked body and quickly got off the bed to kneel on the ground. "The weather is cold. Get up and talk." Looking at the naked Zhao Luan, Wang Zhong pulled her up and did it again. Zhao Luan's face was filled with satisfaction. After finishing, Wang Zhong went to the main hall. "Great companion, between you and Ndeli, who is better at martial arts?" Once they entered the main hall, Wang Zhong asked He Taigao who was beside him. If he wanted to make the Empress Dowager lose her power, he had to get rid of her eyes and ears. This Ndeli was the key. Ndeli controlled the 12 imperial supervisors. If he died, he could rightfully arrange for someone else to take over. This old servant and Ndeli are not on good terms. "We have fought before. It's about 50-50. Wang Zhong nodded slightly. He did not want to wait any longer. This Ndeli had to be dealt with as soon as possible. If he could not even manage a small imperial harem, how could he govern the country in the future? This Ndeli's strength was not bad. He only trusted He Taigao. "Great companion, 50-50 is enough. Go and prepare the poisoned wine. I want to kill Ndeli today." This servant, Ndeli, greets the emperor. May the emperor live for 10,000 years. Ndeli was a few years older than He Taigao. Since he was young, Ndeli served the Empress Dowager. Therefore, he became the Empress Dowager's most trusted eunuch. "You may rise." Wang Zhong smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Ndeli stood up and bowed. He asked, "Your Majesty, why did you ask this servant to come here?" "Ndeli, I went to the Empress's place last night. I heard that your people in the 12 imperial supervisors bullied the Empress. Is this true?" Although Ndeli was the Empress Dowager's man, he had to act on the surface. He quickly lowered his head. "Your Majesty, the Empress usually lives in seclusion. The people in the 12 imperial supervisors have never come into contact with the Empress. How could they bully her? Your Majesty, please understand. That's strange. Could it be that the Empress lied to me?" Ndeli quickly said, "This old servant has followed the Empress Dowager for many years and often taught me etiquette. Bullying the Empress is a capital offense. This old servant does not dare." "Then is it one of your men?" "This old servant will go back and investigate." "Very good. You must investigate this matter carefully, Eunuch He. This old servant is here." He Taigao walked out. "Eunuch has worked hard and performed a great service. I hereby give you a cup of wine." "Yes." He Taigao took out the poisonous wine that he had prepared. Seeing this cup of wine, Ndeli frowned. Giving him wine for no reason. There must be something strange about this. Ndeli could not help but tremble. He could not help but look at Wang Zhong. At this moment, Wang Zhong had already arrived in front of him. Eunuchen, why are you still not thanking him? He Taigao stood on the other side with the wine in his hand. Your Majesty, this old servant is already old and cannot handle alcohol. And Deli knew that his words were very disrespectful. But compared to drinking poisonous wine, he did not care if he was disrespectful. After all, he had the Empress Dowager to support him. Eunuchen, I sympathized with you and gave you good wine. You actually rejected me. Are you not putting me in your eyes? This old servant does not dare. I am really worried that after drinking the wine, this old servant will not be able to do anything for your Majesty. If that happens, this old servant will have sinned. And Deli explained with a cold face. All right then, I will not make things difficult for you. And Deli breathed a sigh of relief. But suddenly, he felt a sharp pain on the right side of his abdomen. Then, he was shocked to find that the emperor was holding a dagger in his hand. This dagger had already pierced his chest. Immediately, Deli's eyes widened. Deli, I gave you good wine out of goodwill, but you refused to drink it. Since you are so disobedient, what is the point of keeping you? Since your Majesty treats this old servant like this, don't blame this old servant for being ruthless. And Deli clenched his teeth and sent a palm strike toward Wang Zhong. But he Taigao was already prepared. He was one step ahead and sent a palm strike toward Deli's chest. Bang! Deli was caught off guard and was sent flying. First, his abdomen was injured. Now, he was sent flying by He Taigao's full force strike. The blood and qi in Deli's body instantly became chaotic. Even his breathing became unstable. Dog, how dare you be disrespectful to your Majesty? I will kill you for your Majesty. He Taigao attacked like the wind. At this moment, Deli was completely powerless to fight back. He barely managed to take a few blows before falling to the ground. Taking advantage of this opportunity, He Taigao suddenly stepped forward and broke Deli's neck. Deli was dead. Your Majesty, are you all right? After dealing with Deli, He Taigao lowered his head and asked. I am fine. That's what you said to others. Deli is already old. He accidentally tripped on the road and fell to his death. Chapter 617. Your Majesty, won't this arouse suspicion? He Taigao asked worriedly. It will definitely arouse suspicion, but it's fine. From now on, you will be in charge of the 12 inner prisons. You must also find a few trustworthy martial arts experts. I have great use for them. This old servant obeys. He Taigao was naturally excited when he heard that he would be in charge of the 12 inner prisons. But soon, he said worriedly, Your Majesty, although Deli is dead, he still has many trusted subordinates in the 12 inner prisons. This old servant is worried that they will not be obedient. Great companion, you are not young anymore. Do you still need me to teach you how to deal with disobedient people? Just do whatever you want. Those who are disobedient will all be executed before the Empress Dowager knows. As you wish. Wang Zhong walked over and said, Listen, you and I have already started. If we fail, I may not die, but you will die. He Taigao instantly understood and hurriedly replied, This old servant will do my best and be loyal to the Emperor as a dog servant to share the Emperor's worries. Good, prepare the men. We will go to the 12 inner prisons together. Wang Zhong was also worried that it would be difficult to deal with He Taigao alone, so he went personally. He Taigao had been in the palace for a long time. Although his influence was not great, it was not that he did not have his own trusted subordinates. Soon, he gathered more than 10 eunuchs. With these eunuchs, Wang Zhong brought his guards and went to the 12 inner prisons. After hearing Wang Zhong say that Deli fell to his death while walking, the rest of the 12 inner prisons were stunned. Although Deli was old, he was also a martial artist. How could he fall to his death while walking? There must be something fishy about this matter. I will definitely investigate the matter of Deli and give him justice. But the 12 inner prisons cannot be without a leader. Eunuch, he has been with me for many years. He is definitely qualified to take over Ndeli's important position. I believe that Ndeli will be happy in the underworld if he knows about it. He Taigao's eyelids twitched when he heard this. He found that the emperor had changed a lot. He could actually say such nonsense without even blinking his eyes. However, this was great news for him. He was originally worried that the emperor's ability was not high enough. He couldn't help but recall the scene where Wang Zhong suddenly attacked Andrew. Originally, when he saw that Ndeli didn't drink the poisoned wine, he was a little worried that he would be exposed. He didn't expect that the emperor would suddenly make a move. It can be seen that the emperor grasped the timing very well. First, he promised Ndeli not to drink the poisoned wine. Then, he took advantage of the moment when Ndeli was relaxed to make a move. It was as if the emperor knew martial arts. Because Wang Zhong had come in person, even if some of the people below were dissatisfied, they couldn't say anything for a while. Several of the Empress Dowager's trusted aides secretly decided to go back and complain to the Empress Dowager. Unfortunately, they were too late. As soon as Wang Zhong left, Grand Empress Dowager He Gaoli used the excuse of checking the accounts to put all Ndeli's cronies in prison. When Empress Dowager Lu Huan found out about this in the evening, it was already too late. Someone, let His Majesty see this consort. After knowing that Ndeli was dead and that He Taigao was in charge of the 12 imperial eunuchs, Lu Huan was furious and sent for Wang Zhong. At the same time, she decided to have the civil and military officials make things difficult for Wang Zhong the next morning. As the Empress Dowager, she had some allies in the court. However, before the palace maid could go out, she heard the scream of a palace maid and died at the door. There's a plague in the Phoenix Palace. No one is allowed to enter or leave. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. He Taigao's sharp voice came. A group of guards from the 12 imperial eunuchs surrounded the place. Eunuch He, I think you're courting death. How could Lu Huan not know that Wang Zhong was going to put her under house arrest? Empress Dowager, I'm sorry. In order to prevent the plague from spreading, I can only do this. He Taigao said with a fake smile. He had already taken this step and could not retreat. If he retreated, he would die. I'll see who dares to stop me. Little stool, little table, follow me out. Yes, Your Majesty. Little stool and little table were the inner court experts who followed Lu Huan. Although they were little eunuchs, their martial arts were excellent. However, before they stepped out of the door, 5 people with bows and arrows suddenly appeared behind He Taigao. With a few whooshing sounds, little stool and little table were killed on the spot. Ah! The group of palace maids and eunuchs screamed. Even Lu Huan was shocked and retreated. Rebel, you're rebelling. Empress Dowager, forgive this servant for being rude. It's just that the emperor's order is difficult and I have no other choice. After He Taigao finished speaking, he turned his head and ordered, surround the place. No one is allowed to enter or leave. Scum. A group of inner court experts surrounded the Phoenix Palace. The harem could be said to be very big, but it could also be said to be very small. Once the matter of the Phoenix Palace came out, almost the entire harem knew. Everyone was puzzled. Did a plague really appear in the Phoenix Palace? Just as the group of concubines were puzzled, the emperor issued a decree for the harem concubines to go to the main hall to discuss the plague. Could it be that a plague really appeared in the harem? The concubines were all very curious. Because the original Luo Zhao had not been the emperor for long, he did not have time to marry many concubines. Now, other than concubine Li who was sentenced to death, there were 8 concubines left. The Empress Zhao Wan had already arrived and was sitting next to Wang Zhong. Empress, Zhan wants to take care of the harem, but Zhan cannot keep an eye on it all the time. I'll leave it to you in the future. Before she arrived, Wang Zhong had already given Zhao Wan a heads-up. Zhao Wan also knew that the Empress Dowager had been placed under house arrest today. For a moment, she was shocked by Wang Zhong's decisiveness. At the same time, she understood that there was no turning back now. Once the Empress Dowager regained power, she and Wang Zhong would be in great trouble. Although the emperor was the Empress Dowager's son, in order to seize power, the Empress Dowager had killed her son countless times. They had to be on guard. This concubine understands. Zhao Luan forcefully nodded and her face regained its dignity. After the concubines received the news that they were going to the main hall, they did not dare delay and entered the main hall one by one. This concubine greets the emperor. This concubine greets the emperor. Wang Zhong waved his hand. No need for formalities. Come, give me a seat. Looking at the concubines sitting in front of him, Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh at the benefits of being the emperor. These concubines all had their own characteristics. Some were curvy in the front and back, some had fair complexions, and some were short and chubby and abnormally cute. But most of them had one thing in common, and that was that they were short. As expected, the people of this dynasty all liked short people. Only Empress Zhao Luan stood out among this group of girls. She was very tall. Beloved concubines, I believe you all know about today's matter. 2 palace maids in the Feng Palace suddenly fell ill. After investigation, they were most likely infected with smallpox. In order to prevent the plague from spreading, Zhan immediately sealed the Feng Palace. My poor Empress Mother is kind and benevolent. In order to not infect others, she willingly shut herself in and did not come out. This truly makes Zhan feel guilty. This was the excuse that Wang Zhong had thought of long ago. Hearing this, the concubines were stunned. Although the concubines in front of him were all his wives, it was hard to know what was in a person's heart. In the depths of the palace, who knew if the person sleeping next to you was truly devoted to you? Beloved concubines, is there anything strange around you or on your body? If there is anything strange, you must immediately inform the imperial physician. Wang Zhong said solemnly. Chen Xie has been staying in the room recently and has not gone out. Chen Xie and the palace maids around me are fine. One by one, the concubines hurriedly expressed that they were not sick. That's good. Wang Zhong deliberately paused for a moment and said emotionally, My poor Empress Mother doesn't know what to do. AI. Emperor, the Empress Dowager is a good person. She will be fine. Emperor does not need to worry. Be careful not to harm your body. Wang Zhong deliberately smiled and said, Hearing the words of my beloved concubines, Zhan is much more relieved. Since that is the case, in order to not let the Empress Dowager worry, Zhan will talk about what to do next in the harem. The harem cannot be without a master for a day. Now that the Empress Dowager is unable to come out, Zhan has decided that the Empress will manage the harem. If something happened to the Empress Dowager, the harem would naturally be managed by the Empress. No one could say anything about this. But what surprised everyone was that a concubine named Concubine Chen suddenly stood up and said, Emperor, Chen Xie feels that something is wrong. Oh, what's wrong? Wang Zhong's eyes flashed. Sure enough, the harem was not peaceful. The Empress Dowager had been placed under house arrest, but there were still people who opposed his decision. In his memory, this concubine Chen was the same as concubine Li. She was also a woman chosen by the Empress Dowager. Her family seemed to be the assistant minister of the Ministry of Rites. When she was chosen, the Empress Dowager said that this concubine Chen was proficient in the 4 arts. She was a virtuous woman. But from what Wang Zhong saw, it was simply a joke. Perhaps the Empress Dowager had chosen this woman for the sake of controlling the emperor. Concubine Chen replied, The harem has always been managed by the Empress Dowager. Although the Empress Dowager is capable, she has never done it before. Chen Xie is a little worried. Is that so? Then what does beloved concubine suggest? Wang Zhong lightly asked. Chen Xie thinks that us sisters should manage the harem together. As for the Empress Dowager, we should invite a famous doctor to treat her. We hope that the Empress Dowager can recover soon. Concubine Chen was quite bold. She relied on the fact that the emperor did not like the empress in the past. In addition, she was a concubine who was close to the Empress Dowager. She believed that the emperor would consider her words carefully. But she was wrong. Wang Zhong looked at Concubine Chen and said, Concubine Chen, we suddenly remembered something. Normally, Concubine Li and you have a good relationship, right? When Concubine Li asked us to grant her death, she told me something about you. You cursed us behind our backs and said that we were an incapable ruler, not worthy of being the emperor. Wang Zhong was simply framing her. Who told this concubine Chen to be disobedient? Right now, what Wang Zhong wanted was absolute obedience from his subordinates. Only then could he make bold reforms. This concubine Chen had bumped into him. As for this crime, concubine Li was already dead. He had the final say. Your Majesty, I've been wronged. Chen Qie has always been loyal to your Majesty and never said such things. Concubine Chen's expression changed and she quickly kneeled. At this moment, she was a little dazed. She did not understand why the emperor would suddenly accuse her of such a crime. If concubine Li had really said such a thing, the emperor would have already caused trouble for her. Most importantly, she had never said such a thing. While concubine Chen was in a daze, the other concubines had a tacit understanding. What bullshit plague! The emperor wanted to punish the Empress Dowager. Whoever spoke up for the Empress Dowager would be punished by the emperor. It was a pity that concubine Chen could not understand. Chapter 6:18. Your Majesty, please understand. This concubine never said, "Humph," consort Li said it herself. How could it be false? Your Highness. This old servant is here. He Taigao immediately stepped forward. Consort Chen is arrogant and rude. She has no respect for her superiors and is suspicious of others. She has disrupted the harem. Starting today, she will be demoted to a commoner and banished to the cold palace. She will no longer be treated as a concubine. Consort Chen's expression changed. She didn't think that a few words from her would cause her to fall from heaven to hell. This was what it meant to be blind. The other concubines all trembled. With Consort Chen's example as an example, none of them dared to say another word. Your Majesty, this concubine knows her wrongs. Please don't banish me to the cold palace. Your Majesty, the cold palace was the most remote place in the harem. Not only was the treatment poor, but more importantly, entering that place was no different from being imprisoned. In the future, she wouldn't even be able to see the emperor, let alone give birth to a son. It could be said that she would live a miserable life without seeing the light of day. We don't want to see her again. Servants, take Consort Chen away. Your Majesty, please spare this concubine, Consort Chen cried loudly. Unfortunately, at this critical moment, Wang Zhong wouldn't pay attention to her. Consort Chen's voice gradually faded away. At this moment, the hall was completely silent. No one dared to speak because the concubines were afraid that they would say the wrong thing and end up like Consort Chen. Do any of my beloved concubines have any objections to our decision? Wang Zhong asked coldly. This concubine feels that it's very appropriate. Your Majesty is wise. Wang Zhong nodded in satisfaction at the concubine's attitudes. He thought to himself that the ancient people's brains really didn't know how to change. If this were a modern-day situation, how could there be someone like Consort Chen? After dismissing the concubines, Wang Zhong began to instruct Zhao Wan on what to do next. First, they had to cut costs. There wasn't much money left in the national treasury. It wasn't worth it to continue wearing gold and silver for the sake of the concubines. Fortunately, Zhao Wan was a thrifty person. With her in charge, Wang Zhong felt reassured. After giving his instructions, Wang Zhong waved his hand and ordered Zhao Wan to investigate the accounts of the harem and take control of it as quickly as possible. Naturally, the matter of the imperial harem could not be concealed. Soon, all the civil and military officials knew that Wang Zhong had put Empress Dowager Lu Huan under house arrest. Sure enough, early the next morning, Wang Zhong didn't go to the morning court, but he heard from the eunuch that all the civil and military officials had come to request an audience with the emperor. Empress Dowager Lu Huan also had allies in the imperial court. This point could be referred to Lu Ji and even the famous Empress Dowager like Ci Shi. Without any allies in the imperial court, he would not be able to live long if he continued to be so arrogant. Lu Huan's ally was Wang Zhong's uncle, Lu Zhongpe. This Lu Zhongpe relied on Lu Huan to walk through the bureaucracy like it was flat ground. In just a few short decades, he became the prime minister of the current dynasty and was ordered to assist in the government. It was a pity that there wasn't much assistance, and there were a lot of corruption. Lu Huan was also a woman. She sat and watched her younger brother take bribes and bend the law. This was called being uncultured. The reason why many ancient dynasties were destroyed was actually because they were uncultured. If they followed the philosophy of modern management and didn't appoint people based on favoritism and put national interests first, how could they be destroyed? Emperor, this Lu Zhongpe has many henchmen in the imperial court. After hearing about the Empress Dowager, he led the civil and military officials to make trouble. I'm afraid there will be some trouble in today's morning court. In the back garden, He Taigao said worriedly. Great companion, there is no need to worry. Today, I will meet this uncle. After a while, Wang Zhong went to the throne room. The emperor has arrived. This was the first time Wang Zhong attended the morning court as the emperor. In the past, when he was in the Great Dragon Dynasty, he was always by the emperor's side as a eunuch. For a moment, he felt a little emotional. After a moment of fluctuation in his heart, Wang Zhong calmly sat on the dragon throne. Long live His Majesty. Although the civil and military officials secretly thought that the emperor was an idiot and raised him like a pig, they did a good job on the surface and knelt down in unison. Everyone, rise. Wang Zhong yawned as if he hadn't woken up yet. When the civil and military officials saw this, they were even more certain that Wang Zhong had no interest in the imperial court. This made them feel a lot more relieved. At this time, He Taigao stepped forward and shouted, "There is a memorial. If there is nothing else, the court is dismissed." In the next moment, Lu Zhongpe stepped forward. This humble subject, Lu Zhongpe, reports to the emperor that I heard that the Empress Dowager's body was unwell. This humble subject is the Empress Dowager's younger brother and is very worried. This humble subject begs the emperor to let the famous doctor ask about the Empress Dowager's illness. Wang Zhong knew that Lu Zhongpe would step forward. There were many factions in the imperial court, but Lu Zhongpe's faction was the strongest. Although his mother was Lu Zhongpe's elder sister, sometimes for the sake of money, Lu Zhongpe didn't care if his nephew could sit on the throne. The foresight of the ancients was very low. For example, during the time of Demo country, when the country was about to be destroyed, the emperor mobilized the civil and military officials to raise money. In order to make the officials follow the trend and donate, the emperor had the empress secretly give the empress's father about 8 million taels, the exact amount was forgotten, to let the father-in-law take the lead in donating. Unexpectedly, the father-in-law deducted 3 million taels and only donated 5 million taels. In the end, when the army came, the father-in-law's family and the civil and military officials were all confiscated. The women were reduced to playthings of the enemy. When he saw this part of history, Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh at how low the foresight of the ancients was, especially the most important point. Since the country was about to be destroyed, what was the point of keeping the civil and military officials? Wouldn't it be better for the emperor to just send troops to confiscate the property? According to Wang Zhong's understanding, the emperor valued his reputation and didn't want to leave behind a bad reputation. But the country was about to be destroyed. To still care about this, it was really Lu Zhongpe's thinking. Imperial uncle, Zhen's imperial mother is sick. Zhen's mood is heavier than yours, but it is a plague. For servants have already died. What if the disease spreads and the entire imperial family dies? Emperor, the doctor this humble subject has invited is very skilled. There will definitely be no problem. Then, all right. Since Imperial Uncle is so concerned about Imperial Mother, Zhen will do as you say. But the Phoenix Palace is stable for now. Zhen doesn't want to complicate things. I want to wait until Imperial Mother calms down and send someone over. Wang Zhong was using a delaying tactic. Lu Zhongpe frowned. Wasn't this clearly not letting anyone in? Just as he was about to continue speaking, Wang Zhong waved his hand and said, "All right, Zhan's concubine's health hasn't been very good recently. Zhan wants to go over and visit. That's all, court is dismissed." After saying this, Wang Zhong directly left, leaving behind a group of officials looking at each other in dismay. Prime Minister Lu, His Majesty is too willful. Why doesn't he care about the Empress Dowager and instead cares about the concubine? AI, quiet down. A group of people gathered around Lu Zhongpa, all of them lamenting Wang Zhong's incompetence. Lu Zhongpa frowned. He was actually quite curious. Originally, after finding out that Lu Huan was under house arrest, he guessed that the emperor suddenly wanted to investigate something, so he came to court this morning to find out what was going on. But from the looks of it, he was still reluctant to leave the harem. Could it be that Lu Huan really was sick? Everyone, please return first. This old man will do his best to persuade His Majesty. Lu Zhongpa was also complaining about Wang Zhong's sudden departure. It should be known that when he forced Luo Zhao, he led the civil and military officials to force Luo Zhao to submit. Now that he had left, there was no point in staying any longer. After returning to Zhao Wan's residence, Wang Zhong told her about what happened in the imperial court. He could not help but curse. That Lu Zhongpa to think that he's my uncle. He colluded with the civil and military officials to mess with me. If he doesn't fall, Great Yan's empire won't be safe. Su, be careful, Your Majesty. The walls have ears. If word gets out, Lu Zhongpa might rebel, Zhao Wan hastily reminded him. Currently, the civil and military officials had no intention of rebelling. Everyone just wanted to earn money. However, if they knew that the emperor wanted to investigate them, none of them would surrender without putting up a fight. It would be troublesome if the emperor gave them time to prepare. I understand. Aren't you the only one here, Your Majesty? I trust you. Zhao Wan's heart warmed. I'm really happy to be able to gain Your Majesty's trust. It's almost noon. It's time for lunch. All right. Zhao Wan immediately ordered the servants to prepare lunch. However, at this moment, He Taigao entered with an official. This humble official, Shan En, greets Your Majesty. Long live Your Majesty. Wang Zhong had some impression of Shan En. He was the Minister of Justice and was in charge of all kinds of cases, especially those that involved the death penalty. All of them had to go through him. However, major cases involving officials had to be reviewed by Wang Zhong. You may rise, Minister Shen. May I know why you're looking for me at this time? Wang Zhong asked in a dignified manner. Your Majesty, someone reported that the Minister of Revenue, Li Mingkai, had embezzled money from the Ministry of Water Resources. According to the law, he will be executed at noon today. Please make the decision, Your Majesty. After Shan En finished speaking, he originally thought that Wang Zhong would wave his hand to indicate that he understood. After all, in the past, he and Lu Zhongbua had colluded together to suppress dissidents. He had shown it to the emperor, but the emperor had never questioned him. However, Wang Zhong did not agree to it this time. In his memory, Li Mingkai was old, but he had great prestige. Before Lu Zhongpa, Li Mingkai was an important official in the imperial court. After Lu Zhongpa took over the throne, the two of them, one in the Lu faction and the other in the Li faction, were not easy to deal with. In the past, the two of them often argued with each other in the imperial court. However, as Lu Zhongpa's influence grew, the people in the Li faction were almost all eliminated. Now, even Li Mingkai was imprisoned. Wang Zhong did not know if Li Mingkai had really broken the law, but there was one thing that he was sure of. If Li Mingkai had really been executed, then LV Zhongbua would be able to cover the sky with one hand in the imperial court. I've seen this. There are many questions in it. I still need to investigate it carefully. Shan En, immediately go to the execution ground and stop the execution. What? Shan En was stunned. If Li Mingkai was not executed, then the imperial court would be in trouble. More importantly, the emperor wanted to investigate it carefully. How could he allow that? However, it was not good for him to refute, so he could only brace himself and say, "Your Majesty, Li Mingcai's crimes are serious. The evidence of corruption is conclusive. If we let him go, I'm afraid the people of the world will be disappointed. I don't need you to teach me what to do. Quickly go to the execution ground. If you're late, I'll hold you responsible." Shen An's eyelids twitched. Seeing that Wang Zhong was determined to save Li Mingcai, Shen An gritted his teeth and lowered his head. "This official will do it immediately." Chapter 619. After Shannon left, Wang Zhong immediately called He Taigao, "Great companion, I am worried about Shen and, is your Majesty worried about Lord Shen? Lord Shen and Imperial Uncle Lu Zhongbua are close, and Lu Zhongbua and Li Mingcai are not on good terms. I am worried that Lord Shen will pretend to comply but secretly oppose." At this point, Wang Zhong ordered, "How about this? Quickly go to the execution grounds and save Li Mingcai. This is my imperial sword. This old servant will go immediately." He Taigao knew that this matter was of great importance and did not dare to delay. He quickly stood up. "Great companion, you must save Li Mingcai. Bring more people with you." Wang Zhong was worried that Lu Dang, who was outside, would not listen to him. At that time, not only would he not be able to save Li Mingcai, but He Taigao would also die there. After He Taigao left, Wang Zhong rubbed his forehead. Now that the harem had been solved, the most important thing was to deal with Lu Dang. Next, he had to think of a way to earn money. Relying on taxes, the people below had swallowed too much. According to ancient historical records, in the later period of a dynasty, the amount of money that the officials embezzled was often more than the entire country combined. Therefore, Wang Zhong did not have any hope of collecting taxes. But it was definitely not possible to arrest so many officials at once. At that time, the world would be in chaos and he would die faster. So he decided to find another way to earn money. After becoming the emperor, he could not open a restaurant or a hospital in the past. Firstly, he would earn too little money. Secondly, he did not have the energy to do it. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong decided to open a clothing factory first. The people in ancient times did not have any entertainment activities. Family expenses were nothing more than clothes and food. The amount of food was fixed. He could only rely on the people to grow food. He could not rely on this to earn money in a short period of time. But clothes could. Now that the weather was turning cold and winter was coming, the people would need cotton-padded clothes to survive the winter. The clothes on the market were not cheap. Firstly, the raw materials were rare. Secondly, the efficiency in ancient times was low and they did not know how to improve efficiency. What Wang Zhong wanted to do now was to manage the factory. He had already thought of the people. There were more than 3,000 people in the harem. Wasn't this free labor? Not only did they not need to be paid, but they also worked all year round. All they needed to do was to provide them with some food. They were even more useful than slaves. Among so many people, other than the concubines of the original owner, the concubines of the previous emperors, nobles, and even commoners with no status, there were many palace maids. Usually, these women had nothing to do other than fight in the palace, so they went to work in the clothing factory. What they needed now was raw materials and a workshop for the garment factory. Coincidentally, Zhao Wan came over with the dishes. "Empress, you came at the right time. We have something important to discuss with you." After being in this ancient world for so long, Zhao Wan was the one who shared the same thoughts as him. "What does your Majesty want to say?" Wang Zhong explained his plan and said, "Now that we are in urgent need of money, establishing a clothing trade can solve our urgent needs." "All right then." Unexpectedly, Zhao Wan agreed. "Your Majesty, you're right. There are a lot of people in the imperial harem. Since they have nothing to do, it's good to let them do something. It's still the Empress who knows me best. Then it's settled. I will settle the matter of the raw materials in the next few days." To make clothes, one needed cloth and cotton. Back in the Great Dragon Dynasty, his first world as a eunuch, Wang Zhong had opened a garment factory after he had pacified the world. It could be said that he was proficient in this field. Your Majesty, I have a way to deal with the raw materials. My hometown has a lot of cotton, and I know many cotton farmers. I can help Your Majesty purchase them. As for the cloth, I also have someone in mind. The price will definitely be fair. All right, then I'll have to trouble you, Empress. Although the ancient emperors did not allow their concubines and empresses to appear in public, Wang Zhong did not have this psychological barrier. After all, he had been a concubine's son-in-law before. What was there to be afraid of? However, before Zhao Luan left the palace, Wang Zhong still asked her to dress up and send a few eunuchs to follow her. This time, Zhao Luan left the palace as the daughter of a merchant from a large family. Nobody knew about it. The people in the imperial harem all thought that Zhao Luan had been staying in her residence. On the other side, the Minister of Justice, Shan An, frowned after he left the palace. The emperor actually asked him to go to the execution ground to save Li Mingkai. Li Mingkai had great prestige in the imperial court. Even among the common people he was very famous. In the past, Li Mingkai would criticize Lu Zhongbua from time to time. Even Shan An had been insulted by Li Mingkai. The people of Lu Zhongbua's faction had long regarded Li Mingkai as a mortal danger. They could not wait to kill him. Therefore, Shan An had a headache. He did not know what to do next. After all, the emperor had said that if he did not do a good job, he would be held accountable. But soon, Shan An suddenly laughed. I'm really stupid. This place is still far from the execution ground. When the time comes, I'll slow down and delay him for a while. When the emperor questions me, I'll say that I didn't make it in time. At that time, Prime Minister Lu can put in a few good words for me. However, to be on the safe side, Shan An called a servant. Go to Prime Minister Lu's residence and tell him that the emperor wants to save Li Mingkai. Understand? Yes, Your Excellency. This servant will do it right away. Go. After watching the servant leave, Shan An leisurely rode his horse to the execution ground. Higher, higher, higher. On He Taigao's side, in order to quickly complete Wang Zhong's orders, He Taigao galloped toward the execution ground with 6 court eunuchs. The imperial palace is handling matters. Get out of my way. Finally, He Taigao and his men arrived at the entrance of the execution ground. At this moment, the place was completely surrounded. Today was the day that Minister of Revenue, Li Mingkai, would be beheaded. Li Mingkai was no ordinary person. Compared to the corrupt Lu Zhongbua, the people preferred Li Mingkai as an official. Sigh, Lord Li was harmed by that treacherous official Lu Zhongbua. In the future, Lu Zhongbua will be able to cover the sky with one hand. Lord Li is so pitiful. He won't have an official to plead for the people in the future. All of you, get out of my way. If you delay His Majesty's matters, you won't even be able to pay with your lives. A sharp voice was heard, and the people panicked and hurriedly moved aside. He Taigao felt that the crowd was too slow. With a cold snort, he leaped from his horse and stepped on the heads of several people to arrive at the center of the execution ground. Audacious! Who are you? How dare you trespass on the execution ground? The supervisor on the stage bellowed. He Taigao coldly said, His Majesty has ordered that there are doubts about Lord Li's case. Stop the execution. Hand Lord Li over to me and bring him to the imperial palace to await his punishment. What? Someone sent by the emperor? Upon hearing this, the expressions of the officials on the stage changed. It wasn't that they were afraid of He Taigao, but that the execution of Li Mingkai had been personally ordered by Prime Minister Lu Zhongbua. In the current imperial court, Lu Zhongbua could cover the sky with one hand. Who dared to offend him? Just as the majority of the people were about to hand Li Mingkai over, a middle-aged man suddenly stood up. Begin the execution. This man's expression was cold. He didn't take He Taigao seriously at all. How audacious! You dare to go against His Majesty's orders? He Taigao pointed at the man and asked. His Majesty has also ordered us to arrest the guilty official Li Mingkai. Eunuch, it's not good to falsify an imperial decree. He Taigao knew this man. He was an official from the Ministry of Justice and was very close to Liu Zhongbua. His Majesty is indeed wise. He knew that we would be in trouble. He Taigao snorted coldly and drew the imperial sword. Everyone, the imperial sword is here. Seeing this sword is like seeing His Majesty. Hurry up and kneel. The people on the stage clearly didn't expect He Taigao to take out such an item. Their expressions changed drastically. It seemed that the emperor was determined to save Li Mingkai. Your Majesty, long live the emperor. The ordinary people on the periphery knelt down one after another. The people on the stage had no choice but to kneel down. Men, untie Lord Li and escort him back to the palace. Yes. At this moment, Wang Zhong was wandering around the palace with a few palace maids. He was looking for a good place to set up a clothing factory. This place had to be large and open to all sides so that it could be used to transport goods and materials. Apart from that, it would be best if there was a large empty space to use as a toilet. After all, there were so many people in the clothing factory. He couldn't possibly run from the East Palace to the West Palace just to use the toilet. As he walked, Wang Zhong recalled the layout of the harem. Unknowingly, he was getting more and more remote. Just at this moment, a fragrant wind suddenly blew over. Wang Zhong focused his eyes and immediately frowned. The person in front of him was Consort Chen, who had been banished to the cold palace. At this moment, Consort Chen's eyes were red. She cried, "Your Majesty, I know I was wrong. Please let me go. Don't banish me to the cold palace. It's too miserable here." Whoa. It turned out that although Consort Chen had been banished to the cold palace and was not allowed to leave, she was constantly thinking about how to leave. Thus, she sent a maid out to find out. The maid was lucky. After a few steps, she saw Wang Zhong walking towards her. After knowing that Wang Zhong had come, concubine Chen immediately dressed herself up. She dressed up beautifully and even put some fragrant rouge on her neck before coming here. Wang Zhong was angry when he saw Consort Chen. He frowned and said, "Get out of my way. I don't want to see you." "Your Majesty." Consort Chen knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing, "I will die here." "Woo, this concubine has always been timid. I beg your Majesty to spare me." "Your Majesty, please let Master go. The cold palace is cold and damp. Master's body has always been weak. It's easy for her to get sick." Consort Chen's maid was very loyal and helped persuade Consort Chen. Wang Zhong was about to scold her again when he noticed that he had unknowingly walked into the cold palace. Compared to the other places in the harem, the cold palace was very simple. More importantly, the cold palace was very close to the back door of the imperial palace. There were roads in all directions. There was also a large area outside. It could be used as a restaurant for workers to eat and a public toilet. It would be a good idea to open a clothing factory here. After making up his mind, Wang Zhong looked at Consort Chen and coldly snorted, "Jin asks you, do you know your mistake?" You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.